Anti-derivative Jill.
Greetings and felicitations.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and welcome to Infinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations. On today's episode...
Number 95.
There it goes.
Your voice changed there.
Yeah, I'm confused.
My microphone was on mute, but I'm still continuing a special journey through all the episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series. We're watching in production order, so we're on that episode. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. It's 15th in the season, but 70th overall. So we officially only have 10 more episodes to cover.
Oh, man.
So if I could just pick one episode out of season 3 that I wish could have been made when we had the entire production crew who created Star Trek still together, you know, both the Jeans and the Dorothy and all the original writers, this would be the one I would pick. I could see an absolute classic episode buried in this thing. It just kills me. It's dying to spring forth through the intent of the story as it existed originally, and I'll explain more as we go along. But first, I gotta say hello. Thank you so much, Scotty R37, for covering my technical error. How are you doing?
Oh, I
today?
thought that was you. No, it's my pleasure. This is great. I love
I
this.
do a great Scotty R37 impression.
You do. You're an amazing impressionist. No, this is fun. I like this episode, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. No matter how you feel about it, there's a lot to say. Hello also to Captain Duke Shepard. Also, Jim. Hey, how are you doing today?
Doing good.
Good deal. And Stone Racket, thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome. I'm happy to be here. And speaking of impressionists, we have Frank Gorshin starring in this episode.
Well, for sure. I if I had time, I would have found the blooper in which he does an impression of somebody. But and hello to Pop Culture Curator. I'm so glad you could be here today.
So am I.
How's
I'm
it
sorry
going?
I couldn't get the blooper clip. And hello,
No, that's
everyone.
okay. No, that's all right. It's not your fault. It's YouTube for throwing you around and telling you you're reusing content. So you got rid of your blooper reel, and so
Yeah, it's a little
that's not your
background,
fault.
everybody. Yeah, I did have the blooper reel available at my disposal, and unfortunately, I had to remove it and reapplied for monetization, and was rejected again even after I removed it. So I don't know what's going on with the monetization. I'm losing hope on it, but I do apologize for not having that standing by.
You'll get it. You just gotta try again.
Yeah.
And
good to see everybody. Good to see everyone.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it is great to see everyone in the chat. And before I say hello to them, reference to production of these episodes will include Star Trek 365. I learned about that from Raquel Briggs, who covers all of Real Star Trek on the Clobbering Times channel with Clobby and Mark D with the C. It's a lot of fun. We're starting Voyager Season 5, and so that's going to be great. I'll also make references to These Are the Voyages by Mark Cushman, and any other references I'll make, I'll try to cite as I go along if I can. Even though my slides go in order, I don't mind if you want to talk about different parts of the episode. To help with that, I'll read the preview for Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. So the 365 book says, oh, wow, it includes a lot of quotes here. Bell, it's obvious to the most simple mind that Loki is of an inferior breed. Wow, it goes straight to that one. And Spock says, the obvious visual evidence, Commissioner, is that he is of the same breed as yourself. Are you blind? Well, look at me. And so, of course, that's the reveal that did surprise me when I was 19, first watched Star Trek, and because I was just like, wow, these guys are jerks to each other, and that's the reason why. That's so ridiculous, and that's the point. But anyway, the 365 book says the Enterprise intercepts a stolen shuttlecraft and its sole passenger, a native of the planet Sheron, named Loki. He requests political asylum from the Federation, claiming that he's a victim of racial persecution on his homeworld. Not long after, the Enterprise receives a second representative from Sheron, Bale, an officer of Sheron's commission on political traitors. Bale wants Kirk to turn Loki over to him, but Kirk refuses. A frustrated Bale attempts to convince the Enterprise crew that Loki's criminal nature is inherent in his physical appearance. Black on his left side and white on the right. Bale, a member of Sheron's ruling class, is black on the right side and white on the left, which apparently makes all the difference on Sheron. When Kirk and company fail to comprehend the value of that difference, Bale decides to force Kirk's hand by taking control of the Enterprise. And thank you so much, everyone, for choosing to listen in today. It means so much to me that you want to talk about Star Trek with me. Both of these guys are jerks, and they're just allowed to run amok on the Enterprise. So let's talk about that. But first, I do want to say hello to people in the chat. So glad you guys are here. Franco Walker was first to vote in the poll, so everybody remember to vote in the poll if you haven't yet. And he gives it an A+ for Frank Gorshin. Makes sense for Frank to support Frank.
I agree with that.
Alan Trioscillator is also here, and so is Lemon Pie, Maggie, and Stone Racket. Thank you so much. It's always so generous when you do this.
Very kind. Stone Racket's an excellent guy.
Yeah, he is.
Why,
To paraphrase the companion from Metamorphosis, the Jill must continue. In order to facilitate this here and some more space credits for you, Jill, keep on trekking. And yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
And I have more spots for videos, so I'm gonna find more videos. But here's what I got.
This unit is different. It is well ordered.
Nomad.
Gavin Blackburn says these two guys look identical. No, wait. One is black on the right side and the other on the left. Shouldn't be a problem, though.
Of course not.
No, not at all. Gavin Blackburn, thank you. And Jim's here and on the panel. And Gorilla's Random Thought says he's in double secret lurking mode. Okay, don't tell anybody.
Don't say a word.
Good to see you, Gorilla.
And DJ.
Yeah,
Hello,
DJ.
DJ.
Very nice.
Hello, DJ.
Very nice.
The Renaissance man.
He was a real DJ too.
And the mysterious edge of time.
Oh, I can't wait to hear his voice someday.
Yeah, he was on one of my member streams. That's how I know.
Nice.
Yeah, he has a great broadcaster's voice.
Lucky you, Jill.
Yeah, I was. Hello to Mary the Ginger Menace. Hello.
Hello there.
I'm loading up my computer and I'll pop in. Well, great to see you here.
Huzzah.
How does Dawn dish soap get oil off baby ducks, but does nothing for my spaghetti bowl?
If the bowl is plastic or silicone, try a little bit of cornstarch.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
hey.
you can give it a spray with some Pam, and that'll help when you're cleaning it up. So just pre-spray it, and then that'll help get it off afterwards.
Nice advice in the panel for that issue. I just live with orange dishes.
too.
I didn't
I
realize
never do any of it, but I saw it on the internet.
Yeah, works good with spaghetti, chili, things like that.
Yeah.
Hello to Ari. What's up,
Hooray!
Plus
Hello,
C
Ari.
Nation?
Hope you're doing well, sir.
And thank you so much, Darius. Wow, a
Darius.
super sticker.
Hello,
Merci.
Darius. Long time no see, or at least for me. Good to see you there.
Yeah, popcorn super sticker.
Yay.
Let's
I hope
do.
to have these one day.
I want to keep this one a long time. He's pretty.
There he is.
And you're a handsome woman.
Mm.
There we go. And this episode reminds me of people who go jogging on cruise ships.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a full workout and display for a quarter of the episode. It's wonderful.
I would, you know what? The jogging. Okay, first of all, Frank Gorshin, amongst his talents, jogging is not one of them. He looks like a lame tauntaun when he jogs.
But he was
And-
always very fit. I had a feeling he was
Oh, yeah.
probably a regular at working out.
But he looks, I don't know. I expect like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. He looks funny when he runs, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
I share
the
something
thing
in
is,
common with them. I look funny when I run too.
well, that for some reason that seemed to be a deliberate choice. I don't know. I don't understand
Right.
his actor's choice, because it was just that was something that my fellow Trekker friends locked in on. We always got a big laugh out of how Frank Gorshin ran in this episode. It's like, I don't understand it. I don't.
I think they were instructed, and I know it was kind of rushed, the scene,
Yeah.
but I think they were instructed to act exhausted, like they had already ran several levels of the ship.
Yeah.
Because,
And,
I mean, as soon as they started running, they looked exhausted.
and speaking of direction.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, speaking of direction, that was what Pop just listed, or what Pop just said, is among many bad director choices by Judd Taylor, I believe, directed this episode.
Oh, here's my favorite one of what you're talking about. Where is
Oh,
it?
no.
Oh, I got like a million slides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
See, because I got a bunch of videos because I realized, thanks to Darius Munchausen, not only the gifter of popcorn, but the gifter of video space. Now I've got so much room for videos. It is.
There's so much space for activities.
That's excellent. So you,
is on red alert.
Judd
Oh,
Taylor
my God.
discovers the zoom lens and then gives us a migraine using it.
Exactly.
Well, and see, I'm making fun of the jogging, but the thing is, and
That
like
dizzy-
when I was talking about this episode with Jill last night, because I hadn't watched it yet, and I was like, "Oh, good!" And there's going to be 10 minutes of running. I can't wait. But the entire episode is just Paddington Bear. There's just like, okay, we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna do 3D mystery horror theater on the red alert klaxons, and it's just like this. Everything is padded out so much. It's like, I'm gonna go do this, and then you watch people go and do things. It's just
and then it's like sports narration from Mr.
Yeah.
Spock. This is
Yeah.
what's happening. Then they show you what's happening.
exactly, and oh my god,
And Chekhov, it looks like a shuttlecraft. And
Yeah.
Spock, that's exactly what it is, Mr. Chekhov.
exactly
It's like
everything is pulled apart.
Captain Obvious. Everyone's Captain Obvious.
Scotty puts Kirk on hold at one point in this episode. They just drag this out.
Yeah, they were desperate to
and-
get that coverage of get it to a 1 hour
Yeah.
or close to 50 minutes as much as possible.
Well,
It
even
was
the
nice
last-
too. We get a nice tour of the sets
Yes,
for the
that
Enterprise.
is true.
Yep.
But even the last line of the episode is when Kirk is saying set course to Starbase 4. There's like a 2-second pause between Starbase and 4.
Yeah.
It's not just Shatner acting. It's like, we got to stretch this out. We really just need those extra 3 seconds, please.
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
let that be your last battlefield. First aired on January 10th, 1969. Hey, January 10th, that's your birth date, Scotty.
Yeah, 9
So,
years before I was born.
I had to ask, what was the source? Because I had to watch this using an online source that's Soap Today. What did you guys use?
I used my Blu-rays.
Okay.
I have Blu-rays too.
All right,
And
good, because I have a
copied them
question.
on my media server.
All right, because it good when we get close to the end, I have a question specifically about the end because it didn't play out like I thought I remember.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because of the source
Oh.
material or what.
It could be syndication. I saw at the bottom, I saw that there's a lot of cuts in the syndicated run of this episode, and it could be when you first watched it, it looks completely different than the way you watch it now.
Well, one thing that was unexpected is, believe it or not, is the website Soap Today, which up to this point has been relatively reliable, did not have the main audio track. So I had to watch this with everything but the main voice track. So I could hear all the sound effects, the flicking of the switches, the
What?
turbo shaft doors opening and closing.
That's freaky.
I could even hear the echo when Kirk gave command over the intercom. I could hear the echo of his voice. But I could hear everything but the main track. So I had to rely on the subtitles. It was
That's-
odd.
Wow.
That's so funny because when he does address the ship, I noted that on the Blu-ray, I didn't hear an echo. Maybe
And I could
settings
hear
are
the
off.
echo, but not the main track.
That's crazy. So it's like you just listen to a soundtrack.
Yes, I could hear the grunts. Like when the two would grab each other,
How
I heard a
did that
grunt real
happen?
quick.
Yeah,
Your balance is off. You had left and right channel, like you were
I
doing
did something, yeah. So
Yeah.
today they have like 3 different servers. I tried all 3, same thing. And it's only this one episode. But it was entertaining to watch it that way.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, you got to pay more attention, don't you? So
Right, and the lesson for
this-
Gorilla, sometimes you got to learn to read those subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this has a story by credit for Lee Cronin, who of course is really Gene Coon, but he was under contract for a different network, so he had to use a pen name. And this is his last contribution to the series. Last 10 episodes. We're gonna have a lot of laughs now. Gene Coon's so this was it.
Well, that's
And
that's interesting going into the
it's
last
him.
10 is because I know that like we're doing these in production order and season 3 does get a lot of flack. I'm wondering if we're just bottoming out after this. It's like no more Gene Coon. Everything's going to seed.
It's running on
Well,
fumes almost.
Yeah.
But I'd still, they did try it. It could have been a lot worse. I think we'd said it before.
Right.
Still
What, like
better than
Lady
Bond.
That's
Eden?
what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing is that they kind of get the idea of what Star Trek is, and they're trying to paint by numbers. You can tell they're not just giving up.
No, but they like later on, and this is sort of spoilers for a future episode. But when we get to Lights of Zetar, it blew your mind that it was by Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Oh yeah, it did. Well, the teleplay for this one was by Oliver Crawford, who co-wrote the Galileo 7 along with Espar David, Shyman Winselberg. But Espar David doesn't have anything to do with this one, though. I don't want to confuse anybody.
Was it Meredith Lucas who wrote the Alternative Factor? John Meredith Lucas?
No,
I'm just curious because this episode does remind me a lot of the Alternative Factor. This is a good version of the Alternative Factor. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Right, there are similarities.
No, I don't know. John Meredith Lucas. No, it is written by Don Ingalls.
Was the Alternative Factor?
Yes.
No relation to the author.
No relation.
All right.
Well, the author of this is Oliver Crawford.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking notes. I'm sorry.
And the director is Judd Taylor. So he also did the Paradise Syndrome and Wink of an Eye.
Oh, okay.
So he did those in 6 days. So that's under schedule. So he was hired for this one because that's all Fred Freiberger cares about. You go under schedule, you go under budget, you're hired.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess I can't say people aren't giving up because Robert H. Justman gives up in this episode. He resigns from the show because of the declining quality, and and Gene Roddenberry he feels that he abandoned the show. But I didn't read Inside Star Trek. I know you have that book. if you want to read that anything from Justman for this episode, if you know about it.
I do
I
have
don't
the
know.
book handy. I will look up and see what I can find.
Yeah, if you can. If you don't find anything interesting, don't worry about it.
All right, I will.
But I am curious.
I promise.
I am curious about what Justman says because he's a sweet man, and I pretty much believe him.
Okay.
I'm
Will
more of
do.
a Herb Solo guy myself.
Well, he's not so sweet.
Oh, I know.
Is he not so sweet, or he just tells it like it is?
I think he tells it like it is.
Well, he did. Yeah, he's kind of a jerk though too. Like
Yeah,
because
that's
he's talking to a dead man basically. He's like, okay, so I'm gonna put this book out after he dies. Like it's a
Yeah.
good book. It's just like, why not put it out sooner when you could actually get a response?
Yeah, no, his response would have really been nice, right? And I mean from Gene Roddenberry, not from another author
Yes.
speaking for him.
Exactly. From Gene Roddenberry. I would have liked to see both sides of the equation there. But anyway, that's beyond the scope of this live stream.
Well, but it is.
So-
I think it's pertinent to Star Trek season 3 is because, as you said,
It
we're
is.
losing Gene L. Kuhn, and so it is sort of the breaking up of the fleet. Yeah.
Losing Gene L. Kuhn, losing Justman, who should have been like, if Gene Roddenberry's going to leave, the last thing you should have done was make Justman producer.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a huge,
Damn right. Should have
Bob
been
Just-
awful
Justman.
thing.
Bob Justman was the first Rick Berman.
Darn you,
Amen.
fried burger.
Yeah, how did he
I
get it?
watched this episode with the updated special effects, and it actually made it more entertaining. I think the original special effects are what make it boring for me because it's all just like stock footage of extended shots of the classic Enterprise, of course. But like they add a couple maneuvers in the CGI that looks pretty good and holds my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
It boosts it up. It boosts it up for me.
Boosting.
Well,
Boosting.
thank you, Mike Gakuda.
Yeah, totes.
Lou Antonio was cast as Loki. This is from the Cushman book. He was 39 and since 1960 appeared on The Naked City, Gunsmoke, and The Fugitive. He also
Was he a-
appeared.
And one of
Was
my
he a
favorite-
racist in real life?
He was also in one of my favorite shows, the Snoop Sisters.
Oh, nice.
Scotty, behave.
What?
He was-
This is an episode about racism. I can't just talk
I-
about
I
racism
don't-
without saying
it doesn't-
racism.
I doubt that. I don't think that Lou, and I don't know anything about Lou Antonio's politics. I'll just say that.
That makes sense.
He was also on For the People, which had William Shatner.
Oh, nice.
And after that, a year after this episode, he started doing directing and stuff for other things like the Rockford Files. And that's him.
Loki's character is very interesting, and I'll let you know when we get to the most interesting part about his character
Well,
because he's not
this
even in
is
the
the-
scene.
I think one of the most telling things about this episode is that when every time I read the Cushman book, there's something from the science consultants. The science consultants always put in their 2 cents, which is good. They need to. They have to. And in this case, they don't even mention the science at all. They're just like, this is a morality parable.
Mhm.
And they just talk about that. They don't even mention all of the the weird stuff that aren't explainable because they realize what this episode is and they look at it from that lens.
Did you guys get like when you see the Sherons in their jumpsuits? Were you guys getting like David Bowie from Labyrinth vibes? Like with the bulges?
Oh, the
Mm,
bulge. Oh.
bulges. I hadn't thought about the bulges.
No, I didn't. I didn't really think about that either.
There are
so I
parts-
did look at the bulges, but I didn't like
Yeah.
Oh,
consider
shame on you.
what
so
they're
the truth
like.
comes out.
But even because Loki spends like the first half of the episode on the table, even when Beale comes to confront him.
Mhm.
But there are moments where where Loki is sort of his hands are covering his lap a little bit, like for the camera and such. And I was like,
Aw.
wow, someone's being modest, but
Well,
not necessarily with cause.
And there's the costume take from Scotty R37.
There you
Mary,
go.
Mary from the chat says Jill is Star Trek Voyager season 5
Ooh.
starting tonight. No, next Saturday. Next Saturday on the Cloudburn Times channel.
I'm sure
And so
they had to
definitely-
wear some sort of piece down there to block certain things. That was
Yeah.
very
Lemon
popular back in
pie.
the 60s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they were wearing something. Yeah, definitely. They weren't wearing those on the motion picture. Lemon Pie says, "Did anyone else start craving a black and white cookie while watching Oreos?" Yeah, I
Yeah.
did think about Oreos.
Nope.
No, but the black and
Sure.
white cookie, that's different than an Oreo.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know about
Oreos
that.
are black and white, but like there's half black, half white. It's sort of a yin yang cookie where you can,
Hello, the Reluctant Dragon. Great to see you today.
dragon.
Yeah.
Did I say lemon? Did I say lemon yet?
Hi, Lemon, if we
Hey,
haven't.
sorry.
Howdy,
Is
Lemon.
that often unaccountable rarity, a mutation, one of a kind. Yet you are pumping him full of your noxious potion.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Dad,
run
you
tests.
know-
Blood is blood, even when it's green like yours.
You tell him.
Like this is that's like everybody is so on edge trying to drive this segregation or difference of species home. Like I don't know why Spock would antagonize McCoy like that. Doesn't he think McCoy's doing his job, or is he busting his balls in the middle of a, this is tense. This is to seek out new life. Well, there it is. I'm doing my best, yo. What do you want me to do? I think Spock's being a jerk.
I wanted to point out
Well,
something
yeah.
real quickly before we get too far
bet.
into this.
Sure.
This is from Inside Star Trek: The Real Story by Herb Solow
yes,
and
thank
Robert Justman. This was a script outline that was originally written for season 1. It says here, they're talking about the third season. They appointed a new NBC executive who was overseeing the show, Stanley Robertson. And they're I'm skipping over a lot here, but they're talking about his relationship with Gene Roddenberry. And this is an early example of Robertson's intransigence was his rejection of Portrait in Black and White, a first season story outline written by Gene Kuhn that was one of Roddenberry's favorite story concepts. On August 26, 1966, Robertson wrote, "Per our conversation of today and yesterday, it is to confirm that in its present form, the above storyline is unacceptable. We believe that this story does not fit into the Star Trek concept." Roddenberry was angered by the rejection, which helped to sour his ensuing relationship with the NBC programming executive. During the third production year, the same story was revised, finally approved by Robertson, and filmed as Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
What was the original title for it?
A Portrait of Black and White. A portrait
Interesting.
in black and white.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
Interesting.
what do you guys think of the concept? Do you think it is this the Don't Do Drugs episode of Star Trek The Next Generation? Is this just the heavy-handed?
Preachy. Almost kind of preachy. What's interesting is
Kind of.
I still remember my feelings and thoughts watching this when I was young. I never thought I'd see the day where it's actually more prevalent now and meaningful what's going on currently than it even was when I was a child. I never thought racial, the factors of, without getting too political, would be coming to a head like they're doing these days. It
Right,
seems
and that
a
is the
lot
danger,
more-
but you're right. It is relevant.
Well,
much
and
more now, than it has been the last few decades.
Well, and to build on what you're saying, Pop, is that I was watching this and I sort of shed the racial aspect of it all, and I was even looking at it as just basic ideological differences. Like and specifically, it's like, I am white on the right, thee is black on the right, or whatever he says, Beale. You could just say this is the battle between what you believe in as opposed to even the racial struggle because of modern things, like when you subscribe to certain advocacy groups or what have you, and you say, if anybody's outside of this group, then they are wrong, I must destroy them. That's the interesting thing. And what I love about the Sheronians, the My Sheronians, is that when they are done killing one another, their prejudice is just going to lash outwards to the monochromes that they obviously do not like.
Well, that's all they have left is their hatred, as they say at the end of this episode. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. That even beyond the racial component, it is about, the system versus I guess, someone rebelling against it. and you can square it away like that too. And the 365 book has something to say about what pop culture just said from the Inside Star Trek. They really these two books marry each other pretty well.
Nice.
The conglomerate that someday would be known as Gulf and Western Industries had its roots in a manufacturer of automobile bumpers in 1934. By the mid 60s, G&W had grown into a huge diversified corporation that includes clothing manufacturers, sugar plantations, cigar companies, financial services, record production, and book sales. At that point, the behemoth decided to break into showbiz. And as 1966 faded into 67, the company purchased both Desilu Productions and Paramount Pictures. As it had with every previous acquisition, G&W management made its first order of business, cutting production costs. As Star Trek geared up for its third season, Paramount's new overseers, looking for ways to tighten up the show's budget, spotted what they felt like was an easy target. They deemed that rather than pay for new storylines, the rejected story ideas on file could be resurrected. Among them was an outline titled A Portrait in Black and White. By this time, the outline's prolific writer Gene L. Coon had left the series, so Oliver Crawford, who had previously co-written the Galileo 7, was hired to turn out a script. Crawford discovered that the story nugget within the outline suffered from a lack of action, and that the premise itself was a mite short for an hour-long episode. Given the reduced budget and the limited production time, the creative staff did what it could, but no one was very happy with it, and in fact, Coon asked that they put his pen name Lee Cronin on the final product, and they never did resolve the problem of not enough story to fill the hour, which is why so much of the time is devoted to Bell and Loki running through the Enterprise corridors, chasing.
And let's not forget stock footage.
Yeah,
of
stock
the
footage.
fire,
Thinking of burning buildings.
Mhm.
Yep.
Stock footage of World War II? What?
No, not World War II.
Honestly, it could have been the watch
No?
riots back in the
Yeah,
It
because
was in color.
it was color footage, was it not?
It was color.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, and I'm thinking could have been the watch riots.
that's true.
Well, no, yeah. Well, okay. Maybe this source is wrong. It's from the
Ron Jesse.
unauthorized complete Trek voyages. It says is mixed with stock footage of burning cities filmed after World War II aerial bombing raids.
Mhm.
As
Well, you did
each
right.
and so that's why and so yeah, the chase went on forever because they didn't know what to do with the rest of the story. But that much is true anyway, wherever that stock footage comes from.
Yeah. The running in the corridors, the long pauses between words, and the Captain Obvious type lines all
Mhm.
help to stretch or pad out this episode too.
Well, yeah, and then the ticking clock of you gotta save this planet from this planet. We don't know anything about it. We just gotta save them from. We gotta decontaminate this planet, or billions of people are gonna die.
And according to this book, this is where it really cutting budget, according to them, was really becoming obvious. Because at this point, they said that what happened was basically the budget was being cut at the same time the salaries had increased for season 3, which made it even worse, of course. And according to Bob Justman, it says mixing metaphors, while facilities had turned out to be a pussycat, the new corporate management at Paramount Studios was a real kettle of fish. NBC would be paying more for the series for its third year, but even as we were preparing our new series budget, the new guys in the front office rejected it out of hand. The new figure would have to be $178,500 to $9,000 less than the Desilu budget. No ifs, and or buts. And we had to meet this mandated series budget despite the contractual increases in cast salaries. The reasons were simple. The broadcast license fees from NBC, including the additional money from repeats, were still insufficient to allow Paramount to break even. Projected foreign sales were minuscule, and management was sure this would be Star Trek's last season, so there wouldn't be enough episodes to strip the show in syndication. All management wanted was to cut its losses and get out.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing, is that no matter how good a show is, you had to have a certain number of episodes to get reruns played for you.
Yes.
And so you're kind of stuck between a really hard. It just kind of sucks unless you make that magic number.
Right. The buck, or the lack of buck, stopped at my desk, says Bob. Gene was no help. He was out to lunch, literally and figuratively. Every third season episode would suffer. There were no. As usual, Matt Jeffries' set construction budget took another nearly fatal hit. Less money for sets and fewer sets per episode. I also sliced
That's
money.
unfortunate.
It is, and it's noticeable. I also sliced money from the guest stars, supporting players, and extras accounts. We couldn't afford. Now remember, guys, at this point, this is talking about in general about the show. We couldn't afford to shoot on location because transportation, location rentals, and catering allocations were eliminated. To save over.
Well, this is the bottle show, so this helped with that.
That's the whole point. We get a lot more bottle episodes in this season, yes, and it's very noticeable. To save overtime, directors would have to finish their episodes in fewer hours per day, which meant reduced coverage for editing. Scripts underwent simplification to make them less expensive to produce. Not surprisingly, it also made them very dull. We're writing radio shows, I protested, says Bob. All the actors can do now is stand around and talk to each other. So it seemed that Paramount management, in its need to save money on a dying series, was doing its very best to kill both the goose and the gold-plated egg. No longer would stories and scripts be junked. A Portrait in Black and White was one of the original stories by Gene Coon, written under his pen name of Lee Cronin, that were carried forward into the third production year. It wouldn't do to waste the investment, so good money was thrown after bad. Oliver Crawford was hired to write the teleplay, which, although it had an intriguing premise, suffered from the same fault as the original story, a lack of physical action. The script was now entitled Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, and a talented director, Judd Taylor, was hired to shepherd the episode. In a meeting held a week prior to filming of this episode, Taylor, Friedberger, Jossman, and Singer agreed that not only were they about to embark on the production of a dull, drab, and totally pedestrian episode, they also didn't have a clue as to the look of the aliens. So the discussion centered on what to do about it. If anything, toward the end of the meeting, Judd Taylor made an offhand suggestion. Well, what if we just made the two opposing characters black and half white?
Right, and that made him part of the creative process of the episode, so that made him feel a little more married to it, I guess. And
yes, that makes sense.
it was his idea.
His first suggestion was, one color from the waist up and another from the waist down, but each one opposite. Taylor's suggestion was enthusiastically adopted. It solved their problems, refinements were discussed, and soon all were in agreement. The two characters would be half black and half white, but with the colors separated vertically rather than horizontally, which makes sense. That would not have been very easy to depict on film.
Right, you would have needed way more makeup to do the other way.
And they would have been hit by the rating system, I'm guessing. The completed film, with its half black, half white concept, was roundly criticized by some for being a heavy-handed attempt to preach. Nevertheless, the film made a valid point with viewers, and it was infinitely better with bi-colored people than without. Judd Taylor wasn't the only new director for Star Trek in the last season. Mark Daniels and Joseph Pevney no longer alternated assignments.
Oh, I know. Jeez.
Yep.
It sucks that we lost those guys.
Yeah, that's a major blow to the third season.
I need to get through to some of the episodes.
My need gave me the right to use the ship.
So
sorry.
he's
Go ahead.
No, but it's okay. It's okay. I do like that book, but I gotta get through a few of these scenes because I don't know. They did something. I think there was something really, really interesting here because this episode made them both hateful and both ridiculous. And this one, Loki is really, he has a victimhood mentality. And because I am the victim, I deserve the shuttlecraft.
I am proud to be a monotone.
But also, this doesn't make any sense to me. Tell me what this means.
That's in the southernmost part of the galaxy.
It's gobbledygook is what it is.
It's in the south.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that what that is? I just thought it was a stupid
Oh.
science statement.
I
but
thought
maybe-
that they just don't understand that you don't have that kind of directional system in space. I didn't even think about the north and
Yeah.
the south.
yep.
Neither
It's,
did
I
I.
did.
Oh
I
my
thought it
God.
was
the north
about-
and the
yeah.
south.
Right. It's a reminder because it used to be you didn't really hear about
Oh my
race
God.
issues unless you were talking about the deep south of the U.S.
Yeah, it
So
was
I
deep
thought
for
it
that
was
matter.
an intentional dig as well.
Yeah, it was, and we were, I think, a year away from the forced busing in the Northeast. Then we got some really nasty stuff north of up north.
Canada?
No. I'm talking about the Northeast United States.
Yeah.
You
Without getting
monotone
too-
humans are all alike.
Yeah.
You
right,
racist.
right. He's talking about the.
We're all alike. We're proud. We're proud to be
Right.
monotone.
Mm.
Right. So yeah, remember everybody, this is right around the time and during all the racial conflict and upheaval that was going on,
Yep.
segregation and separation and marching
Right.
and all that.
It's right in the middle of all that. Well, unfortunately, this is also right after the assassination of Martin Luther King, and that must have been a really hard blow for everybody. A terrible occurrence. And
I wonder if
so I
that's
can
what helped.
see
I wonder if that's what helped change
why
your
there would be
mind.
so angry.
Ooh.
But
Now, I do like
this is
this,
also I don't want to miss talking about the shuttlecraft a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, again, this is something that makes it
Here,
feel so
right here.
padded out is that they need a spaceship to get Loki. And so they use stock footage of the shuttle and say, oh, it was stolen. It's fine. And then later, when Beale's ship shows up, it's like, it's
invisible.
completely invisible. And it's like,
That
okay,
was-
so you guys didn't have any
That
budget.
was
You wasted
right.
it all on makeup.
And not only that, but he magically appeared aboard the bridge. It was
Yeah.
like a really rushed plot contrivance.
Yep, and budget. We
Because remember,
we have no budget.
right,
Mhm.
and the shields were up, so it's not like it was a transporter effect or
Yeah.
he just magically. Oh,
No, it wasn't.
I had
Yeah.
a few
He's
issues
just
with
he's
this
just magic.
episode.
Well, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
that's what
got
really.
telepathic control over the ship.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
really
but
hobbled.
Loki doesn't, right? They're supposed to be the
Yeah.
same race, but Loki for some reason doesn't have all these magical powers.
Yeah, that hobbles the episode. It's just
Well-
all I have to do is think, and I can control your ship, and then oh well, I'll just short out some things so you can't do that self-destruct anymore. Here, I'll show you how I did it. And a
Right.
lot of it's like it's just magic.
Right, he could have stopped it during the process when they did the self-destruct.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so-
yeah.
Yeah,
Dorothy, where are you when we need you?
yeah,
Yeah. But the thing is,
Yeah.
and maybe this adds credence to what Beale was saying, but if Loki doesn't have the power to force the Enterprise to bend to its will, maybe Loki is a lower life form. The half whites.
yeah.
Well, no,
I-
I'm just saying he has.
You're on thin ice there, Scotty. I wouldn't go
Beale-
that.
Oh,
Beale
okay,
can
but how
actually
do you know
control
that?
things.
Okay,
Beale
but
can
how do
control
you-
things Loki can't, and therefore
Okay, wait a
the
minute.
half
I
blacks
have
can't do it like
I
the
have
half
a
whites
counter
do.
for that. I
Okay,
have
sure.
a counter for that. So if Loki's powers are lesser than Beale's, then
Yeah.
how come they're able to fight each other on an equal footing when they do their little energy battle together?
base
They seem to
biology-
be pretty
Plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
would.
base
I agree with
biology is
Pop.
there.
It's just plot armor,
Oh.
contrivances upon contrivances.
So that's inconsistent then.
I
Yeah, it's
don't
just
think it is.
basically Beale and his so-called superior race. They're more educated. They're more trained. And
Well, they're only
that's
more
true.
educated
and
because
Loki,
the others
right,
are not allowed
right.
to be
That's what I'm
more.
getting to. If you'd let me
Yep, yep.
finish, but anyway, yeah, Loki is, and his kind on Sheron are held down. They aren't trained, so their mental powers aren't not as acute as Beale's.
That makes sense. That totally makes
Yeah, it
sense.
does.
Yes, just education enough to serve the master race.
Yep.
Yep.
I love it. Checks out. See, but that's the thing, and I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be edgy or problematic in the conversation. But again, it's a show about prejudice and how people can be oppressed. But the problem is when it comes to Loki, is that he has a legitimate grievance, but he's sort of cemented it as hate, and he has no desire for reconciliation or cooperation or coexistence. His answer is to destroy. Like there's a rage that is part of the half whites,
but they're two of a kind. They both have that same exact mentality. It's just that Beale is able to hide it behind I have the authority and I look more reasonable, but he's just as destructive.
Yep.
If not more so.
Oh, for sure. The oppression, the oppression against the other halves it's obvious that it is a brutal. It reminded me of Cardassians. Beale reminds me of a Cardassian.
Exactly. It does. It does. It reminds you exactly of Cardassians who say, well, what we do is we give you our love. He literally says that. And we're taking care of you or whatever. And that's exactly the way that Goldacott treats the Bajorans, even though as he's murdering them.
Yeah.
Anyhow. And that is a great parallel.
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry. I wanted to go back to the Shuttlecraft because you touched on it very briefly, but it was reused footage from the Galileo 7, and in the what we just saw previously, the remaster fixes it in terms of what it says, because it's supposed to be stolen from Starbase 4, but if you watch the original, it's labeled Galileo, and so the remaster corrects that. And so I like
also
so the remaster can do some good things sometimes.
Yeah, the remastered shuttlecraft sequence shows that it's under the control of a tractor beam and bringing it in. So it shows it coming in much different than a controlled landing into the shuttlecraft bay.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say the original story that Gene made didn't do. Obviously, Judd Taylor came up with the black and white thing. So in Gene's original story, it was going to be a devil and an angel, and so
that sounds like a Gene Roddenberry story.
That didn't, right? Or Gene Roddenberry and Gene L. Kuhn working together. That it would have been interesting to see that, but it's fine.
I'm glad Judd Taylor suggested what he did.
I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this is an all hands on deck episode. We get our main 7 and Christine.
Yep.
So that's always nice.
Okay, so even if we do have our main 7, what we don't have are lots of extras in the corridors. Everything seems kind of empty in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The lack of extras, which is Gene Roddenberry's big bugaboo. He goes, we need more people. It's like, we can't afford it.
Well, if you watch the early episodes of
Star
Trek, the hallways are flooded.
Yeah, they had the bucks back then.
They really packed them in these old Constitution class.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, Paramount buying Desilu. I mean, it was slash and burn on budgets, and it was just outrageous, and it affected Mission Impossible as well, which you read about extravagant spending on Star Trek in the early years. Mission Impossible under I can't think of his name. Pop, help me.
Bruce Geller.
Bruce Geller. I was just thinking Bruce Lansbury, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong Bruce. But Bruce Geller, he didn't care about budgets at all, and they spent quite a lot on Mission Impossible. But once Paramount took over, that kind of thing was stopped.
Oh, I do. I just want to check in with the chat because Mr. Miles.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am. I am doing that.
Oh well, okay. Go for it.
I'm sorry. I apologize, but go ahead, reading Mr. Miles.
Well, and Mr. Miles says, I don't want to bring the chat down the chat. I've talked about it here before, but I lost my mother in early 2023, almost a year to this day. Condolences and memorials, sir.
Yes,
Yes, indeed.
Sorry to hear that, sir.
Send lots
Yes.
of prayers.
Yes, I'm so sorry, Mr. Miles.
Yep.
And no, that's an important anniversary that is close to your heart, and it's good for you to remember her. And you have your memories, and I hope
She climbed the
you-
steps of Mount Solea.
yeah. I'm not really good at this stuff, but
Well, I just
I
brought up
hope you
Mount
find some
Solea, so neither am I.
something good here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I'll have to work on that.
Also, and I'm bouncing around. I don't know where you left off, but I did want to say hello to Bird of Prey 5.
Hey, Kapla,
with-
Bird of Prey 5.
Hey, Bird,
Hello,
what's up?
Bird of Prey. Hope you're doing well, sir. Say
But
hello to
yes, you're
Mama
right.
Prey.
You're right, Scotty. That was my. You read my mind. Going back to the chat, Ariba Vel says, "America, right or wrong?" As a bumper sticker of the day says. Oh,
That's what you should. We
What?
should start bumper stickers. If you don't have merch on your
I didn't
channel
even
yet,
know that.
we can do Beal 2024, or we can do Loki 2024.
But there, that would presume that maybe they did stop fighting. They stopped chasing each other, and like,
Oh,
we're the
no,
only ones here.
They killed each other so
I
hard.
thought that they murdered. Well, because there's, I wanted to find hope in the hopelessness of this episode, but that's the
it's-
problem with this episode is that there's
it's
there's none.
depressing. It's a dead planet
It's
completely.
You can see the fires of the cities from space for the love of
Yeah,
God.
it's they're still burning for, how long ago did they wipe one another out? How
Mhm.
long has it been? It's
Well, yeah, and these people, okay, and talking about things that don't make sense in this episode, they've been running around for 50,000 years and they never checked in on their home world.
yeah, the
and all that time.
50,000. Yeah, the 50,000 was just why such a preposterous length of time.
Yeah, really.
How about maybe 15 years?
Or
You
five.
know, 300 would have been fine. Like they do make specific
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
comment to
that
the
wouldn't be
20th
bad.
century.
But let's take a few zeros away and just make it 500.
Mhm.
Right, because I get they want to make them aliens, but it's kind of outlandish. 50.
Yeah, really so. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I bring up in terms of Beale being convinced of his superiority over achievement of Loki. But the thing is, none of that justifies genocide, and that's what both parties are interested in. They just want to eradicate their opponent, which is, and even Kirk diplomatically says, "Why don't you try reasoning with him, talking to him? Maybe he can change.
Well, there's no
Maybe you
argument there
can
because
change."
that's exactly what they do. Well, change is what should have
do.
happened at some point, and that's that's actually my favorite line in the entire episode. And I wanted to start the live stream off with it, but I couldn't find it because I put 50 million videos on there.
Change is the essential process of all existence.
Yes,
that's my favorite line.
Yeah,
Darius,
it
But I
comes
wanna
from your favorite character.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. And yeah, so you can tell he worked on Galileo 7 because he does sort of get Spock, except for that joke at the beginning. The Reluctant Dragon says, I look at what they did on a thin budget and I'm impressed. Likewise with Babylon 5.
Well, and
yeah, definitely.
I've been saying for most of these reviews that I love watching Starfleet officers do their job. And while I know that it's Paddington on this episode, it is fun to see everybody doing their jobs. Actually, I was so enamored with them taking the time to show what everyone was doing with the buttons. Uhura's nails in this episode are just stunning.
You like her nails?
I do.
Oh, if you would have told me before, I would have made sure I got a slideshow of that.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see.
Nichelle is just stunning all around.
I might have got it.
Absolutely.
Well, of course. Definitely. I don't care how she wants to wear her hair. She's gorgeous.
But when you see somebody and it's like, oh, those are nice shoes, or oh, you really put some effort into your hair today, or no, the nails. Oh my stars!
Yeah,
Did you
it's
do
like
your nails yourself.
even
or
her
did you go to the
nails are
salon?
impressive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called compliments.
Yeah.
Wait, what episode is this? Sheron reminds me of the theoretical planet where people can read one each other's mind and thus everyone kills everyone else.
Is that the one with Picard and Beverly, and they have linked?
Oh, Oh, oh yeah, they tease that relationship so hard. Okay, yeah, that's probably it. And they do have a link. Man, that episode was a major tease.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. You figured it out.
We
Thank you.
we should review that episode because it is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Oh my.
And hello to Keith E.
Hey, Keith.
Franco and Jill will be popping in and listening. Seems like every person in the world has to call me when I get on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Miles says I will never be able to watch Trek without thinking of her. She introduced me to it.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's lovely that you have that though.
Yeah.
One of my biggest regrets is that my grandpa loved Star Trek, but I never really talked to him about it. Franco Walker says, please subscribe, share, hit the like, and select live chat.
Agreed.
And Mary says, we will think positive, Mr. Miles, but don't ever feel bad. I lost my dad in 2020, says the Ginger Menace, but that's enough of that. I'm glad to see you, and we are back with a vengeance. Carlo Abelnisi is here. He loves this episode. Hatred never wins. Yeah,
agreed.
No, and there's not a happy ending here. You're for sure about that.
It has to end bleak, as bleak as it does to hammer home the point.
Right.
Well,
answer no more questions.
Blinded by hatred, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're blinded by hatred.
I mean, this be a Romulan ship using their cloaking device.
This episode, is as subtle as a ramjet, but it's still important especially because of in the context of the times. It's an important episode
For sure. But just going in universe for a second, I do appreciate, because the entire time when they're trying to convince me, the audience, that there's an invisible ship instead of a budgetary constraint, they're like, it's invisible. I don't know what's going on. I'm glad that they actually acknowledge it in the episode. That it's like, could it be like a cloaked?
Yeah.
Is it a Romulan? Could it be cloaked? And
yeah,
they say no.
that's some consistency from before.
Yeah, they're not idiots. Like, they have experience with this.
It is gone now, Captain, but it seems to have deposited an alien presence.
Oh.
A Joker. I mean, Frank Gorshin.
Actually, I think that's the Penguin.
He is
Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did I say? The Riddler.
Shame on you.
I said Joker, didn't I?
That's
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. See, there he is. Yeah. Now, he was more disturbing than any of the other arch villains on the original Batman. He just had he was dangerous. But I was going to say before I flubbed the whole Riddler Joker thing, that Frank Gorshin is an incredible actor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and let's see what I have on that. Frank Gorshin, he was 35 in this episode. He was a famous stand-up comic impersonator.
35?
Yeah.
He looks 10 years older.
That's because he smokes.
Well,
he had a bad complexion.
I'm 46 and I smoke, and I look better than that guy.
He had a bad complexion. He had a lot of pot marks on his face. I'm guessing he had acne when he was young.
Well, and that's kind of the problem with makeup. Sometimes it kind of brings out the lines. It shows them a lot more.
That's true too.
It's makeup.
He had a
same thing as Bill Murray, right? Similar problem with Bill Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's aged quite. I'm glad he's still around, though. He looks pretty old, though. He had 50 credits as an actor, including the Riddler. And I guess 50 is just too much. This book did not want to list all 50 credits. So if you guys know about his history and you want to talk about it, please do.
Yeah, I gotta look something up, and you guys aren't gonna like it, but I'm gonna check.
Well, wait a minute. Someone look something I will like up then to counter Scotty's thing that I'm not gonna like.
See, well, and it was mentioned in when we were backstage that he was in 12 Monkeys.
There you go. Then
And
that's
so-
cool. That's a great.
Yeah.
That's a time travel episode. I mean, movie.
Oh,
It's
my.
it's a ripoff of La Jetée.
Oh, neat. Okay.
But I remember him from 12 Monkeys, and I remember him from Batman. I know that he was on Ed Sullivan as a stand-up comedian. I never saw any of his stuff, but I do also remember. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it.
Well, that's why
There it
Jed
is.
Taylor.
Hollywood Vice Squad. I remember him from in 1986 with Carrie Fisher. I remember renting this film. Ronnie Cox is also in it. And so, yeah.
I'm
Ronnie
Chief
Cox,
Officer of the
great-
Commission on Political Traitors.
Hollywood Vice Squad. Still the authoritarian. Actually, I think he's a crime boss in Hollywood Vice Squad.
Oh, okay. Wow. Anything else?
About Hollywood
There's
Vice
so
Squad? No.
No. No. Okay. No, I mean like any more roles that you remember, because
No, that's it.
I'm not gonna do it. All right,
Those are
there you
3.
go.
That's it.
I
3
mean,
of
but
them.
there's like 50 of them, so if you
Yeah,
guys
he
want to
had
look
a
more up, he had a ton
very-
of things.
Anything. He was in a
There
Buck
you go.
Rogers,
Buck Rogers.
Cool.
Charlie's Angels, SWAT, Hawaii
SWAT.
5-0.
Yeah, 5-0. Yeah. I thanks for reminding me. I had forgotten that. I can't remember the specific episode, but I do remember he was in there.
Oh, we always hear about the parents getting the kids into Star Trek, but it's also nice when the kids get the parents into Star Trek, like Franco Walker did with his mom. She
Yeah.
loved Deep Space Nine, especially Goron.
Cool.
Yeah, my mom got into Trek because my older brother and I kept watching it, and of course,
Mm.
my mom liked William Shatner.
Well, there you go. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
same
you're
with
either
same with
you're-
my younger sister. She really digs
Mm.
Kirk. So
you're either going to be a Kirk girl or a Spock girl, and I'm all
there
about
you
Spock.
go.
I'm
Yeah.
a McCoy girl. What? Hands like a surgeon.
Mhm.
Scotty is in
Fair
touch
enough.
with his feminine side.
Mm.
He is.
No,
This is
DeForest
true.
Kelly is in touch with my feminine side.
That's why Scotty's is always on the pole.
Well, either choke me or cut my throat. Make up your mind.
Yeah, really.
Do not love that.
Yeah, he's quite brave.
Hey, Don Power Ranger.
Oh, Don's here. All right.
Don, what's up?
More phenomenal.
Yeah, hello, Donnie. Great to see you here. And I am okay. I hope everyone is doing well on this 25th anniversary of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. And that's from Don. Ranger Power.
Yes, I said
Also,
it wrong.
rest in peace, Toby Keith. I love his music. Oh, okay. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. Sorry to hear that.
I'm glad Toby Keith gave joy to people who enjoyed Toby Keith.
I'm going to kick its ass, says Gingerman's. Oh, her medical issues. Yes, please do. Please do. Feel better, the Ginger Menace. The reason why the blood clots were a big deal was because I'm on blood thinner and had to be on it for 6 months. Oh, man. Yeah, definitely feel better.
Your continued survival pleases us.
My mother hated Womanizer's show. She didn't like Kirk. Said, "He's a reluctant
Yeah, that's right.
dragon."
Reluctant Dragon mentioned that in a previous stream. It's like, oh
Yeah,
dear,
he did.
didn't like
but
Kirk. But
hi-
there's more
his
to
mom
Kirk
does-
than the Space Babes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she must
exactly.
She must have hated most of 60s TV.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking that Kirk is not precisely that.
Right.
That's just the joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
Star Trek
the-
fans know it's a joke.
The only people I know who actually believe it, excuse me, are the people who really don't know Trek.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, his first love. We all know Kirk's first love is to the Enterprise. So
That's right. Anytime he is hitting up a woman, it's because he's trying to save the Enterprise.
there you go.
All the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the time.
And two of the
Unless
women
it's an
that
old
he-
girlfriend.
No, but two of the women that he meets
Doesn't matter.
in the episodes, he actually falls in love with. Like, and I think that that's just a game of telephone that people have heard through pop culture that Kirk
Mhm.
was a womanizer. I don't think he was a womanizer. I think
Hey,
that he enjoyed the ladies, and sometimes he was manipulative because he was trying to achieve goals of his mission. But I don't think that he was hey, let's go down here to get laid. That
Yeah.
wasn't his jam. He
Yeah,
just
no, and it's not, and that's
rolled
why
with
it's a
it.
good
And
joke
Jill,
when you make fun of it, like
Yeah,
like
since-
Gary Graham did when he named his band Sons of Kirk.
there must be a lot of them.
Jill,
Yes.
since you mentioned old girlfriends, please indulge me. I want to do the shore leave thing.
Ruth.
Ruth,
Ruth.
how can it be you? How can you possibly be here?
Yeah,
In that music.
I
Yeah,
knew
definitely.
where it's going.
I think that's the first appearance of that music is the Ruth music, right? The
So,
little
yeah.
doo-doo-doo-doo, you know that. And then of
You
course
bring
when Spock with Layla, they start playing it there too on This Side of Paradise.
For sure. Oh, This Side of Paradise. That's wonderful.
Yeah, they play that
Chill
music too.
Ireland.
Never
Okay,
before
wait.
has Loki been rendered so quiescent.
As soon as Layla says Elias off screen, then it immediately starts playing that music with the close up of Jill Ireland.
I do love that Loki lunges at Beale and Kirk stands between, so we don't have the reveal of the electromagnetic wrestling shields
Yeah.
or whatever they have.
They have shields. Phasers aren't going to
Yeah,
work.
that
and-
just seems to just randomly occur at the rest of the episode.
I will not return to Sheron with him, to a land of murdering oppressors.
Oh no.
But if you want to see
Wandering-
the shields, we can skip.
Oh,
Very briefly.
Well, the thing is, maybe this is what divided this race on that planet is that if Beale meets a lady Beale, for lack of a better term, because of where he is half and halved, he can touch that lady Beale. But if he meets a lady Loki, he can't touch her because of maybe they inherently cannot touch one another. What if their
Whoa, that's not
evolution
in the
separated
episode,
them?
but-
Yeah, that's it. It just I mean, is it that or is it something else? We
It
don't
could-
know.
I don't know.
It's
I
like-
don't know.
That's an
Don't
interesting
know.
question. We're not privy to actually what's happening on Sheron or why they separate
Yeah.
themselves in this way. If they can't touch each other, that would explain why they cannot connect. Because
I
you
would-
can't even shake someone's hand.
Well,
Right.
I
Their
don't.
friendship is pretty difficult.
I think maybe it's when they're in anger mode or aggressive mode that manifests itself.
Well,
Uh,
and going back to the don't
And
do
that's
drugs,
a possibility too.
going back to the Don't Do Drugs episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Remember, they have the personal electrical field that they can use on other people, and they use it as a power.
Yes.
But
Yes.
these
you're right.
guys, it's even if they just touch, they're gonna be, positive and negative.
Mhm.
But the only time we see them touch is when they're attacking each other. We don't know if it's possible for them. It could be that it's just that they're angry, or it's just that they're trying to hurt each other.
Can
So
you
it could be something they can turn on and off. I don't
Can
know.
you imagine, like, as this species developed and the first time that two people hugged, all of a sudden there was this energy field between them that caused great pain? And it was like, just don't go near them. Just don't touch them.
It would explain a lot, but it's not in the episode. But it's a
It's-
really, really interesting theory.
It
Very
is
good theory.
hypothesis. I
It
agree.
is it is an awesome theory, and I like that you brought it up.
He's herded us together like cattle and then sold us as slaves.
Well, you're obviously we're the superior race, yo.
Free to live our lives in equality and dignity.
Yeah.
Genocide for my people is the plan for your utopia.
So is it for yours. Stop.
Insane, filthy
Little plotter of ruin.
I do want to point out the gloves. I appreciate that they're both wearing gloves so that they didn't have to paint the hands.
And also, they don't have to smear each other's costumes with the makeup.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
that was such an issue. Every time they had itch, they had to fix their makeup, and
Yeah.
whenever their noses was itchy.
It's like, yeah, I got a two-tone nose and it's going to completely destroy.
Yeah, you're gonna smudge it very quickly. It's
Could
gonna
someone
get gray.
please itch my nose with a little piece of cotton, please?
I demand political asylum. This ship is a sanctuary.
I've told you again, this ship is a prison.
Sanctuary.
There is no sanctuary.
Your demand
sorry.
for possession of this prisoner cannot be honored.
And this is my favorite, is what Kirk says.
I cannot take sides.
You cannot take sides. I mean, it's clear what's wrong here. And
There's a planet to be decontaminated. Millions of lives are at stake.
but he hasn't forgotten that mission either, and I like that too.
To
Although-
practice your oratory on Starbase 4.
Yes.
So this is
Starbase
better
4.
than alternative factor because I still believe that Kirk is Kirk and Spock is Spock.
Yes. Well, but also like season 1, alternative factor is so early on that I think they're still finding their characters. But yeah, this is one of those episodes that I sort of elevate because of the character interactions. I enjoy everybody except for that one dick move that Spock did at the beginning to Bones.
Oh, I ran into a 365 page. Let's see what this says.
Let's see.
In 1965, the streets of South Central Los Angeles erupted into a racial conflagration that, in the aftermath, became known as the Watts riots.
We saw that on Quantum Leap.
Oh, right. That episode.
Anyway, keep going.
Oh, what was the name of that episode? Reacting to perceived injustices perpetrated against them by the power structure of the city, including the police, the African American residents of the area took to the streets. The result was a 6-day period of violent unrest in which 34 people were killed, hundreds were injured, and millions of dollars worth of property was destroyed.
Yep.
Memories of that event prompted Star Trek writer Gene L. Kuhn to sketch out a story outline he titled A Portrait in Black and White, which examined racial prejudice in the simplest terms, leaving out all politically arguable shades of gray. Kuhn was not the first writer to create a portrait of a problem in such simplistic terms. Here, Beale being black on the right are the correct side. As early as 1726, Jonathan Swift fabricated 2 opposing political parties in his work Gulliver Travels. The big Indians and their foes were at war, fighting over which end of their hard-boiled eggs should be opened for eating. As ridiculous as that seems, it perfectly describes the triviality of the real-life political problems Swift was allegorizing. Prejudice, after all, is prejudice, and injustice is injustice, all of which Kuhn understood. The executives at NBC rejected the outline, stating that the story did not fit into Star Trek concept. The rejection didn't please Kuhn or his egalitarian boss, Gene Roddenberry, but they set it aside, hoping that one day might come when the outline could be expanded into a script and produced. And so eventually they did dig this up and do it. Oh, but that story, I haven't read Gulliver Travels, but it reminds me of a Dr. Seuss book called The Butter Battlefield, where 2 sides fight each other. One side puts the butter on top of the toast, and the other side puts the butter on the bottom of the toast, and they fight over which one it is, and it's an arms race of who can make the better weapon, ending with both of them having basically the allegory of the atomic bomb, but you don't see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting
inspired by Jonathan Swift, but addressing the nuclear proliferation.
And of course, there's actually another Dr. Seuss book that is like this episode, where it has 2 creatures. One has stars on their bellies, and the other one doesn't.
Oh yeah.
And the short story of it is that somebody comes to town and sells them the ability to put on stars on their bellies, and everything gets all crazy and mixed up, and they realize how ridiculous they've been.
And unfortunately, when I was in grade school, Dr. Seuss was frowned upon.
Really?
And yeah, I had already learned to read before I started school. And
Frowned upon.
we were
Mm.
forced to read the Dick and Jane books. And the teacher was always telling me to read with more expression. And I said, well, I can't. She goes, why? I said, these books are stupid. And
Yeah, because there's nothing to express.
you know, and I'm
That's just
like,
see,
you know,
run.
I mentioned Dr. Seuss, and that, it was like I, you know, spouted some kind of communist manifesto or something. They just didn't like
Really? I
that.
didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
he was frowned upon because, you know,
Why?
he had ridiculous made up words and you
But
know,
that's the fun of it,
and his
because
politics were so liberal. And
oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, my grandma bought me Dr. Seuss books, so that's how I
yeah.
learned how to read.
Yeah, same
So
here.
essentially, I taught
Same
myself
here.
that way.
Yeah, same here. My older sister, my father enrolled in this book club, and it was the Cat in the Hat I Can Read
Mhm.
All by Myself series, and a
Yep.
lot of those books were Dr. Seuss.
Mhm.
And I just loved those books.
Yeah, me
you
too.
know. Yeah, and they had
Wow.
it's just some really good stories and beautiful artwork.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
Look Out, Pirates was one book.
And so this
And
is the Star
yeah.
Trek Dr. Seuss episode.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get back to Star Trek.
For sure. And yeah, because is this guy telepathic? I don't know, because this is right after this is when he decides to take over the ship. He commandeers the Enterprise.
I wouldn't say telepathic, telekinetic.
Telekinetic.
Yeah.
There you go. Telekinetic. That's a better word.
Mm-hmm. He can short out circuits. Oh dear.
Some kind of mental powers. They're
Yeah.
more like they're less like mortal. They're more like godlike powers.
Yeah, it's just more contrivances to, push the story the way they want it to go.
Hmm. Well, definitely. That's the idea.
Your demand for possession of this prisoner cannot be honored.
I can't understand it. I simply have no control.
Oh, I missed this one too.
To practice your oratory on Starbase 4.
Oh, you played that.
I did? Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I don't
mhm.
remember.
The ship is on red alert.
I'm getting
Which
this
is
Jill, I'm getting a headache.
dizzy.
I'm dizzy. I need a break.
well, apparently that was supposed to be an homage to Batman because they had the Riddler on
Yeah.
set,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't done very well.
It's like, gosh, this episode's so boring. I'll get things exciting. Let's have this zoom lens go up to the red alert symbol.
Why
Or
not?
light. I
This
should
ship
say.
goes where my will drives it.
Hmm. Oh, and not only that, man, this season it has lots of nova explosions and lots of the Enterprise going out of control.
Captain, we are now at warp 10 and the speed is increasing.
What?
Impossible.
That's not safe.
Mm-mm.
No, it isn't. Well, I mean, but maybe from this they realize maybe the Enterprise can do more than we thought she could.
Yeah.
Only what it is designed to do.
It's like, oh, why can't security just stun them with phasers and put them in the brick? Oh, they have force shields. Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Pink
Like-
shield.
What? Okay, so it kind of feels like two kids playing with their dolls, and it's just like, okay,
Dolls? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
why
You
can't
mean-
Captain Kirk? Put
You
them
mean
in the
action
brigs?
figures?
Mm.
Guys don't play with dolls. We play with action figures.
Uh-huh, they're dolls.
No.
I ain't touching that one. Damn writers.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's like,
This is so
why can't you put him
stupid.
in the brig?
This is so stupid. It's like, okay,
Force
Judd
fields.
Taylor, you really like Sergio Leone, Italian
No.
westerns. It's like close-ups of the eyes and then close-up of the mouth with James Doohan's tobacco
Nicotine
stain.
teeth?
Yeah, nicotine teeth.
Well,
like,
and
just give me a medium close-up of them doing the destruct sequence, please.
And this is an upgrade on the original effect as well, because it was just not even LEDs. It was obviously just a plate that they lit, and so you can see the 1, 2, 3 destruct sequence even before they start going. But in the remaster, they do like black out the screen so it looks like it's popping up for the first time, as opposed to something that was installed on the bridge that afternoon.
Yeah. Yes,
But
indeed.
also, this is I was chastising myself, and I was like, this is one of the greatest first references to the original series in the movies, because and I'm sure you mentioned it, is that it's the identical to Star Trek 3, but love it. I love this.
Yeah,
I hadn't got there yet because we just got to the self-destruct sequence just now.
Yeah, when real brief with Star Trek 3, there were people in the audience quoting the destruct sequence right before it was said in the film. So we had a lot of
exciting for you.
Yeah, I mean, we had some diehard Trekkers.
That seems like that would have been really fun.
The callback is amazing, and also the fact that Chekhov takes Spock's place as junior science officer. Like, I do appreciate that it's Chekhov who does it, and not Sulu.
So I'm gonna build up to the destruct sequence. I got a lot of clips.
Sure. Cool.
This is your last sanctuary.
Kill him. Kill him!
Okay, so there's that one. And I like this.
Two of a kind. And we are both going to Sheron.
That's a big quote for this episode. They're two of a kind. They're more similar than they are different. And they have their own personal force field.
Or I will order its destruction. I will destroy it. Destruct sequence 1, code 1, 1A.
Destruct sequence number 2, code 1, 1A, 2B.
Code 1B, 2B, 3.
Destruct sequence completed and engaged.
One more.
Destruct order aborted. Destruct order aborted.
You don't have the 000 destruct.
For
0?
some reason, the website where I pull these clips from didn't have that particular.
Oh, I love that.
So you have to act it for us. You tell us.
000 destruct 0 is the final code.
Well, and the addition of the abort, I really enjoyed the 1, 2, 3 continuity. Abort.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 continuity abort, and he did it right on the 5-second mark. It's like just in the nick of time.
And then after he aborts the self-destruct, we wait 5 minutes for for Beale to actually fulfill his commitment, which means like you should have just I'm glad that they didn't blow up the ship, but
yeah,
you're obviously bluffing, Jim.
But that's what he's best at. So that's a callback all the way to the Corbin maneuver.
That's true.
Of him being able to play poker. So
not chess, Mr. Spock, poker.
The 365 book says perhaps the most suspenseful moment in all of Star Trek came when Captain Kirk activated Enterprise's self-destruct mechanism and let that be your last battlefield. The tension mounted, enhanced by cuts to extreme close-ups of the characters' eyes and mouths as the officers recited crucial authorization codes. And I just played them all, so I'm not going to read them. The book has them all read here.
Yeah, I kind of beg
you-
to differ that it enhanced the suspense with all those silly close-ups, but anyway, that's okay.
Fair enough. In a wonderful moment of continuity within the franchise, the sequence would be used in the same way, except for a change in personnel, reflecting the officers on hand in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. And so then they list out the quote from that movie. But of course, you guys can go watch the movie. It's almost the
Oh
same.
yeah,
It's really good. I recommend it. But did they use this same series of commands in A Rose by Any Other Name? Or sorry, By Any Other Name?
Was there
they
a
were gonna
self-destruct sequence in by
Oh
No,
no,
there
they were
wasn't.
they were gonna press a button while they were going through the galactic barrier. Never mind.
Yeah, it was a little bit I think this is the first self-destruct where you got to have 3 officers.
Yeah,
I just got lost for a second. I apologize. I'm back.
It's okay.
Scotty's back.
Of course, and well, no, I like when you get lost in Star Trek. It's always fun.
Lost
Of
in
course,
Star
and-
Trek. I love that.
Damn it, Scotty.
The crew knew that Kirk was adept at playing poker, and so we said that too. It's great.
Yeah.
And so Beale tries to win over Kirk and Spock.
Hey.
Oh,
sci-fi-
right. Okay, this
sci-fi
is the
Star
part
Trek.
where okay, so we're coming up on the part where Loki tries to indoctrinate the younger crew members.
Yeah.
Before we do that, I gotta say hello to the chat. The chat's
Yeah.
here. They're here. I can't believe they're here. Y'all guys are great. Hello to Matt G.
Matt G.
And, yeah, and Donnie says TNG may be my #1 golden age overall Star Trek show, but Bill Shatner's Jim Kirk is my #1 captain in all generations of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Hail Bill Shatner. Kirk
is Star Trek. Yeah,
Wow.
I love that.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
Beautiful comments.
He's definitely the pioneer, and it's so disheartening not to stray too far off course. But there's been stuff going on with the promotion of Star Trek recently, and it seems to just want to phase out Shatner and Kirk, or Shatner's Kirk.
It
And
does.
I'm just glad that we're present to be able to talk about it and keep it alive. People say, "Oh, it's being erased," and it's like, no, it's not.
It's
as
not
long as we
erased
keep
as long
going.
as we talk about it. As long as
Yeah.
we remember.
As long as we're here, as long as we're discussing it and celebrating it.
I'm just saying, Kirk could
Yeah.
beat the crap out of Michael Burnham.
Yeah,
No
and I'm sure you
contest.
guys heard that they're even trying to get rid of
Even
where
in-
no net has gone before. And the
Well, they
phrase
did
where
that.
it should
Well,
be
they did.
called Her.
It was called Next Generation. They put in one.
Right,
Well, and Star Trek 6, Kirk does it too.
right. But
But
I don't know. I guess you guys didn't hear about that article.
no,
I heard about it,
what's
but
the
it was
story?
it was done in 1991, so I didn't get flummoxed.
Hmm.
No, the EU is putting out to where they're trying to literally change their vocabulary.
But they
And
did in
it-
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Never
How?
mind. Forget it.
No, but how?
put a
What are you
mute.
talking about? Are
It's
they
all right.
no? But pop culture curator,
I'll
are
be
you
quiet.
saying they're gonna go into old episodes and edit them? What are you saying exactly? I don't understand.
I remember the article verbatim, but it's basically they're going to change their textbooks and all the material and start teaching forward that those words are not appropriate, including calling a ship her. They were saying that's sexist.
Oh,
And
books?
Shatner responded because fans were asking him on Twitter what he thought about what
That's
was going on.
silly. That's ridiculous. I love that the ship is called her. Anyway,
We're living in clown world.
I know. Oh, and Mary's mom loves Quantum Leap. Oh yeah, we did mention Quantum Leap, and yeah, that was quite an episode.
Take a leak.
She said,
Take a leap. Take a leap.
Oh dear.
Oh my.
mhm. They're pre-Q with their powers, says Carlo. Yeah, the powers are so intense that they're
Yeah.
Q, more Q-like, more godlike than mortality. He may not be telekinetic. Maybe he has Elon's Neuralink.
Right.
Oh,
remember,
my.
it's not they have powers. He has. Only one of them has them for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Exactly.
they both have some kind of energy. It's just that
Well, the
Loki doesn't use-
telekinetic stuff is with Beale.
Hello to Sci-Fi Sip Dan.
Hey, sci-fi
yeah.
sick Dan.
Hello there,
Migo
sir.
equals dolls, says DJ Play Nice. A doll by any
Migo-
other name is still a doll.
Migo
Thank
is a
you.
doll. Yeah. Migo is not an action figure.
Okay.
What? They're too big.
Cam. Hi, Cam.
Hey, Cam.
Cam, what's up?
Great to see Cam here. It's good they're able to activate the self-destruct without having to do two-factor verification. All right. And Franco's back from lurking.
Oh boy.
Very cool.
Welcome back, Franco.
I'm so glad everyone is here. Subscribe, share, hit the like, says Franco. Thank you. And James Cassert is here. I'm monitoring you very closely, Mary. Oh, okay.
Hey, James.
Hopefully that's okay. And so where are we with the clips? I want to go back there and see what's going on.
Well, we just
madness to interfere with such a worthwhile endeavor.
See,
So-
again, this is just Paddington Bear. This is just okay. Fine, we'll go back to Arianis.
So yeah, but why? What? Why does he give it up? I mean, well, okay.
He leans toward it being altruistic. He's like, I shouldn't have gotten in the way of such an endeavor.
Yeah, it's like he's acting magnanimous, but then
Yeah.
later he fuses the ship. But why didn't he do that here? He fuses the circuits. He could have done that all along.
I don't know. And it's not a very good effect either.
You are free to move about the ship.
That part, I don't like that.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It
you
doesn't.
are free to move about.
Like
It makes
before
no
the self-destruct, he says, I want both of these men in the brig. And then
Right.
after the self-destruct, he's like, you know what? Now that I think about it, you guys walk around.
Yeah. See.
Was that
Being
a
flushed.
turlet?
We're being flushed. Not me.
Oh no! Here we go. That's
Well, another thing they don't
this
mention as
aspect
well.
of this episode.
Another thing is when they each grab each other, and we see that they have these opposing force fields. They mention that could destroy the bridge, but they tell them later on, go ahead and go walking around the ship. They can start a fight anywhere while they're walking along the ship if they're not being monitored, and they
Well,
can take
Yeah,
the ship
just-
down with them. It was like a foolish. I don't know. It made no sense.
I mean, I kind of get what they were trying to do, saying, look at, you guys hate each other. Why don't you look at people who don't have hate in their hearts? Look at my crew and
Yeah.
use them as an example. But
But
these
later
guys are
on-
too dangerous.
Yes,
later on,
you have to
Uhura
make sure
even
that.
says, like, should we call security? And Kirk is like, no, they have nowhere else to go. And then
Yeah,
Beale
see what-
runs into a guy, and it's like, that's why you call security, Jim.
Well, not only
Yeah.
that, though, but you want to keep them separated. You wouldn't want guards so those two don't fight.
Right.
You stay separate.
Absolutely.
But
Fascinating. Two irrevocably hostile humanoids.
I apologize earlier. I thought I muted my mic when I left.
Oh no,
Disgusting
I
is
just,
what I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're free to roam the ship or run like a gully mimus.
yeah. And I guess there's a hole in the wall where the door is partially open, but it's not red.
no,
Yeah,
I know, I
it's
thought
like,
that was weird,
what?
too.
The doors are jammed open just so they can be eavesdropped on.
That's what I was going to say, though, but it's not a door, but it's not red or yellow or anything. So it's just a gap between two walls,
Yeah, it's a door just painted wrong color.
possibly.
I don't know. This is the briefing room, so or is it? Or excuse me, the rec room.
Rec room. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
briefing
must all
room.
think me a volcanic hothead.
Now, I found this scene very interesting because, like, the performances of both Beale and Loki are trying to show off the fact that they're half black and half white. But this is the only scene where we see Loki monochromatically because he's presented in shadow. He's only black in this, which I thought was an interesting, like, I understand that this door, whatever it is, shouldn't be propped open, but we do see, instead of a divided individual by his color, we see him in one color through shadow, which I thought was, again, directorially striking.
Oh. That's something that I missed. Thank you.
There was persecution on Earth once.
There's no
Once.
such primitive thinking today.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, I know, right? There are still people in the world.
Because they are despised, slaughtered.
See, and I just find that I thought that was weird because I don't think that I don't think Loki or Beale are correct in their rage and desire to eradicate the other. But it's like
Right.
listening to Loki try and recruit people for hate. We must destroy the other Shironians.
Well, yeah, but they're both sides of. They're both being racist and against each other, intolerant, especially and towards the crew too. The calling them monotones, and so it does represent those kind of attitudes. And you don't know you can't trust either of them. You don't know what they're saying is true, how much of it is true, how much oppression, how much oppression is going on.
I am
so
proud
you just
to
have
be
to kind of guess.
I am proud to be a monotone, and not just a monotone, a ginger. I'm proud to be a ginger.
Well, I thought what was interesting is common sense. If common sense prevailed, and in peace, if they would have tried to create peace or maintain peace between those two races from that one planet. And I even hear, as a comparison, our society is we've had people of different races become peaceful, become friends, even marry each other and have children. And what they're saying here is it doesn't matter what these two think in their heads. Even if they decide to become friends and call truce and say, you know what, you're right, this is wrong, let's join forces together. They can't because of that force field. So I think that's a flaw in the writing. Because that force field, it makes all their decisions moot. They're forever separated by that force field. So they can never be
so you
together.
think they can't touch each other either? That never occurred to me.
They don't make it clear. I'm just guessing it's a physical thing.
Yeah,
They think
that's
it's like a
something
mechanical thing.
Yeah, that should have been explained better. That if they're just separated because they can't touch each other, that's a completely different issue.
Yeah, I think it's just when they're in aggressive mode, it's a form of attack and defense, that kind of thing.
You know what?
That means it would be the same way with them against their own color, then, if that was the case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would believe so. Yeah.
But you're right on one point, is that they do make it seem completely hopeless that they could ever connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it's an interesting interpretation, and just to equate it to sort of like a cobra. It's like the hood isn't a cobra's hood isn't always exposed. It's only during aggression and to make itself look bigger. And so it is possible that Shironians can exert their force field magic on one another by will. But I think that please correct me if I'm wrong, Pop, but I think that what Pop and I think is that because of the opposite nature of their black and white physique, if they were to touch, then it's not an aggression. It's a natural reaction to those two people's touching. Right?
Possibly, but like for
that's
example,
what I'm thinking.
But that means if let's say you have two of them that fall in love, they're always taking that possibility. What happens if their angers get out of control? They could hurt each other or kill each other or whatever. Mm-hmm. So either way, it's gonna always keep them apart no matter what they decide. I don't know. I just thought it was odd.
No, I think it's an interesting.
It's a good
you
question.
guys, you guys are right that it isn't explored on screen as to why. But I'm just like extrapolating, and I enjoy audience interpretation. That's part of the reason why I like Star Trek.
Then let us drink to their wise solution to our problem. It is obvious to the most simple-minded that Loki is of an inferior breed.
I fail to see the significant difference.
Loki is white on the right.
What they're showing here is, yes, we have two different breeds, but it's showing that One of them is working on influence in the upper class, and one of them is working on influence in the lower class.
Well,
So
the
I guess,
elevation. Sorry.
right. So there's also, I guess they're showing that they're not equal. I don't know. I don't know if I like that, because the people in the rec room should have said, we don't want to hear this. Just like Kirk and Spock could have said that here. Kirk kind of hints on it, is that basically, we're going to trust both of you equally. But they don't have to sit there and listen to them spew this hate. But they decide,
and that's what he's doing. Definitely.
Well, freedom of speech.
Right,
It's
they're
not
being
hate speech. It's just speech.
But inherently, if you have a bigot, I hate to use that word for this stream. And
but you're right though. That's what he is.
Right, and as soon as they start spewing to you their beliefs, me personally, I would say no thanks. I'm not interested. I'm not even going to sit here and listen to it. I'm not going to give you the joy.
But that's, I think that is inherent, not only in this episode, but also in Star Trek, is the ability to open your mind to engage in these ideas and try and reconcile, as opposed to just deciding one side or the other.
That is my whole point. Is Kirk and Spock are only listening to one side, and then the other crew are only listening to one side. That was my whole point.
Well, Spock was spying on the other side, though.
Yeah, but he ran off to listen. Yeah, but like the older brother or sister, he ran off to go tell. Yes, he was eavesdropping, but then they made.
But I think the thing is that he does, as intelligent as Spock is, I don't really think he comprehended the thing. I think the point is that the crew doesn't see a difference between Loki, and they don't see one as superior over the other.
No, I agree. The crew look at
they see them as one of a kind.
Yes,
two I agree, of a kind, the same.
But I was just thinking it would have been nice if Spock would have, after listening to that, and then they show him immediately turn around and leave in a hurry. It seemed like the first thing he would have told Kirk is they're trying to manipulate the crew. That's what I'm saying.
But that's why they don't pick up on the left and right side differences. Is because
even the pushback from Chekhov and Sulu in the rec room, like in the lounge, they say, well, don't you see how this is, like, they're not they're listening to Loki. They aren't necessarily being influenced, in my opinion, because they're pushing back against Loki's tirade. Like, and there is, and in this specific scene with Kirk, Spock, and Beale, is that they do boil it down, because Kirk is like, why don't you get together in conversation? There's no conversation, and they come to an impasse about the differences between Beale and Loki, and then Beale just acquiesces to a certain extent and says, at least we can both agree that Loki is a criminal. And Kirk counters with him, and he's like, no, we can both agree that Loki took a shuttle. Not that he's a criminal. He doesn't judge him based on his actions until the due process is done.
You know what? And it's so hypocritical for Bell to say that Loki is a criminal for taking a shuttle when he tried to take the Enterprise.
Yeah, nice call. Yeah, totes, Jill.
Yeah.
But also Beale is trying to say that Loki killed thousands of people as well. Let's not forget. He
right,
could be engaged in genocide.
He could be, but we don't really know. It's
true.
Spock says we don't know that he did that.
Agreed. Oh, I like it. It's such. This episode is so Paddington, but when they finally get talking, it's so good. I really enjoy it.
There's something interesting to talk about.
Only the discipline of logic saved my planet from extinction.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't understand the term Paddington.
Okay. Paddington bear. It's a bear. It's a teddy bear.
And I'm just saying that this episode is
that. No, I know what Paddington is. I'm a retired teacher. I didn't make the connection. I didn't understand. So.
Yeah, he meant it's his clever way of saying the episode is padded, so he just says it's Paddington Bear.
Oh, padded.
Yeah,
Paddington Bear syndrome.
No, I apologize. I'm being flippant and sarcastic.
Well, let's look at my favorite.
I thought it was funny, but
it is. I think it's cute.
Change is the essential process of all existence.
Yeah.
And wise, Mr. Spock.
That should it's wise, and it should have been integrated into the story. It's such a great quote, and it doesn't happen.
But it is a tragedy about
it's a
these
tragedy,
people
yes.
inability to look over their own prejudices.
Yeah, and I think you said last night that this reminded you of Day of the Dove, except that in Day of the Dove, the two opposing sides who hated each other figured out how to stop fighting.
Yeah, and that
And
look on Spock's face would have been my response. It's like, I
Like
don't
the
want to listen to this.
The crew of
His eyes.
Klingons, the Klingons and the crew figured out how to stop hating each other and stop fighting. But these guys can't do that.
No. You filthy half-white.
I don't know. I would
Gutters and bleeding hearts. You're dead, you half-white.
Oh my goodness.
Gutters and bleeding hearts. You're dead. Useless pieces of bland flesh.
I like
I'll
how
take
they.
you with me, you half-blood.
I love that they have their
Sorry.
own racial slurs and they can half white, half black. Oh,
Do you think at least it would have been appropriate for at least once Spock trying to give one of them the Vulcan nerve pinch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but he can't even touch them, can he?
I don't know.
They
we
just
don't
have
know.
their force field.
Right. We know
These
they can't touch each other, but I don't know about other people touching them. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
but once
absolutely right. Pop culture. You should have tried at least, and
Yeah,
then at
but
least
once-
failed.
Yeah,
you
especially
try
with
and
Beale on
stun
the
them.
bridge when he tried to, when he was commandeering the ship.
They were both burnt out.
Yeah, right. When he did that, when he burnt out the fuse with the self-destruct or whatever. Which
The
doesn't
fact
matter
that-
anyway. You could just take a phaser to the warp core. if you
Right,
really
out of the whole
want to ship.
episode, they knew how dangerous Beale was and how easily, and his point was to take over the ship, and they knew that was endangered anytime it could happen. They would have been thinking about ways to try to deactivate him or get to him or destroy him or incapacitate him or something, but they never even bothered doing that. And then they said, just go ahead and walk around the ship. I don't
Yeah.
know. It just is. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, at least if they would spend at least a couple lines of dialogue trying to mention how they're trying to like incapacitate him in some way.
Yeah, instead of having the other kind of padding and endless running in corridors, they could have had that worked out in the script.
Well, you notice too as well is Loki was in sickbay. Bones was saying how rare he was and he'd never seen anything like it and all these other good things. Beale shows up on the bridge. Now, this is unbeknownst to Dr. McCoy. They immediately take Beale down to sickbay, and McCoy there's not even a mention as when he knows that there's somebody who's a totally opposite color. What he does is he just exits the room. And I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
I'm glad
they
you
walked in
pointed
with Beale
that out. Yeah.
Right, when they walked in with Beale into sickbay, if you watch McCoy, all he does is just turn and exit. Not even a single line.
Yeah, I did not notice that, but I'm glad you pointed that out. That makes it even worse.
That's definitely something's missing.
Yeah. Dorothy Fontana, where are you?
Damn writers. Hey.
Yeah, damn writers.
Damn writers.
Okay,
Ariana
so
says, "Go ahead.
They definitely
Go ahead and spray our atmosphere."
They make it to the planet. They save the planet. They decontaminate, and so those billions of people are going to be okay. So we at least covered up that plot.
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to at least show it with the new special effects. I was hoping they were going to show the ship doing something when it was decontaminating, but I guess
I think
not.
they did in the original. I think in the original, it's a little more evident that something happened.
Okay.
But we don't get to see Starbase 4.
I know. I
sorry.
wanted. You know what? The whole time I was so excited to see Starbase 4, and we never get there, do we?
No.
Okay, so okay, here we go. In the original, okay, so there is a difference. So here's the planet before in the original, and then they do their spray and see what happens. Thank you to the Trekkie channel for making this comparison. And so let's see. And then after, what does it look like? It looks the same.
I think it looks the same, just a different planet.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing they added
Oh, there we go.
as far as
No?
the, as far as the Enterprise is that you can see
Oh, there it is.
a device. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I guess it does change color.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is before, and this is after.
Okay.
I think the change is more evident in the original effects because it's muddy yellow, and then you get the blue. And before it's still kind of blue. It's just a shade, like you can just see the smog. It's a little more subtle.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the
Shouldn't-
difference in the remaster.
In the remaster, shouldn't it have an atmosphere around the planet? I don't know.
And it does. Now it's clear. Like now it's
Okay.
it's
All
been
right.
cleaned up.
Right, but sometimes, usually
and
from
so-
space, planets have an atmosphere where it looks almost like a bubble, a semi-transparent bubble. But I don't know.
Mm.
It just doesn't seem to be high resolution enough.
That's
I
fair
guess.
enough. That's fair enough. 2005 CGI.
720p. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? With the bubble.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about, and I agree. They should have, but of course, like Jill said, 2005, and also they had to do it quickly and within a tight budget.
Well, I know, but it's the reason why I'm thinking about it is because I used to teach CDI in school. We built 3D planets easily. We had software to do it, and that was one of the lessons. Was I taught the kids how to put an atmosphere around the planet. So
Yeah.
the third and fourth graders.
Oh,
were
that's
studying
cool.
planets. Yeah, when the third or fourth graders were studying the planets in our solar system, I would show them how to make the rings for Saturn, but as well as also as make atmosphere on planets, so that it was. I don't know. That's another story for another day. But that was late '90s, early 2000.
Yeah, there's really no
Wow.
excuse. But again, even with the modern effects, they were on a tight schedule and a tight budget.
Possibly, yeah.
Jeez,
and
why
it-
didn't I go to school where they wanted to
Yeah,
teach
it's
me about
like-
computer graphics?
That sounds fun.
That sounds amazing.
It was fun. Yeah, the
Okay.
kids loved it.
I would love that right now. James Caserta says maybe they both have the power, but either one is stronger or one refuses to use it. That's a
It
potential.
refuses? I don't
potential.
know.
Do you think Loki actually has the same powers as Beale, but he just doesn't use those powers?
Yeah,
That's what James Caserta considers.
Yeah, after thousands of years not using it intentionally, I don't know. Doesn't seem likely.
Hmm.
Not to try to overpower each other. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Remember when Kirk locked them in a room together and made them listen to Black and White by Michael Jackson? Lemon pie. Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Well. Oh my gosh. That's a topic for another live stream.
Yeah.
Bella Abadisi says they can't forgive the past atrocities both sides have committed. They won't try to live together without being punished. There's no future if you always live in the past. And so
Yep.
yeah, they're living 50,000 years in the past. It's a little excessive, but
Right,
you're
but
right.
think about just the basic. If they would have said, you know what, you're right. You know, let's make peace, and then they can't even shake hands.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Well, I do have to say hello to JD Lewis. Hello, JD.
Hello,
Lewis.
JD
How are
Lewis.
you?
Hey JD, what's up?
Scotty being flippant and sarcastic? Who'd have thunk, says Uri Bavel. I know, right? Jeez. Yeah, Uri Bavel definitely knows about Scotty's sarcasm.
Damn it, Scotty.
He's experienced it firsthand.
It's
He-
supposed
he
to be
says-
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Is a zebra black on white or white on black?
Ooh,
Oh,
the mind
That's one of those.
boggles.
Black and white stripes.
very good. I asked my parents about black and white cows when I was a kid driving through Pennsylvania and was told to basically shut up.
There's the answer right there. Yes, the answer is shut up.
Cows are white with black spotches on them.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone just joining us, JD Lewis lets us know the episode was a rewrite of an abandoned season 1 script called A Portrait in Black and White, written by Barry Trivers. Barry Trivers, I missed that name in my research, and Gene L. Kuhn. Under a pen name, Kuhn was also involved in the rewrite. Right, and Lee Cronin is that pen name.
Yeah, that he had to use because he was working on It Takes a Thief over on the ABC network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he
And that was
seen...
for Universal as well. So it was like if they had caught wind of this, Gene would have been in big trouble. Like,
Well,
you signed a contract, Mr. Kuhn.
He didn't have anything to do with
I'm sorry, what?
it. Oh yeah, no.
What was
never
that?
mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I wanted to hear what you said. I didn't hear you.
Well, the thing is, Gene L. Kuhn just didn't. He didn't work on this episode at all. In terms of, he did work on the outline a long time ago in season 1, but it seems from what I've read that he had no involvement in the teleplay writing of this.
Yeah. Yeah, he still had, I don't know, it's kind of nebulous, but he had 6 writing assignments left for Roddenberry on Trek, but yet he was producing and writing It Takes a Thief. And I'm like, it's like, and so he had to do this on the sly, some of this work on the sly. Mm-hmm. And now this particular teleplay, yeah, I don't know if he had anything but the story outline. So.
That's what it seems like.
This will be your final battlefield.
Hey,
so there's your
obligatory. Everybody take a drink.
That's your obligatory title coming into the episode.
Everybody take a swig of. I'll take a swig of vitamin water here.
There you go. If you're partisans of justice, well, geez.
It's kind of like, well, okay, how? He's impervious to phasers, and I'm sure you can't do anything if you came at him with a knife.
What do you do? Carry justice on your tongues?
I like that. I like that quote. I do enjoy it's a better way of saying lip service. I do like that. But what of Lazarus?
What of Lazarus? That's one of the quotes I need to bring back into my, now that I have room for more clips.
Oh man, when we wrap up the entire series, it is going to get an honorable mention. The alternative factor is going to get some sort of gold star for being what it is.
For making me angry irrationally.
Well, making me wonder what happened to Lazarus.
What of Landrew?
Oh, Landrew.
He be shorted out.
Yeah, he be shorted out.
All they have left are the documents.
This is interesting. I'd love to see what the original effect was for the planet, because I do think that the remaster sort of highlights the destruction of Sheron.
I showed the planet where they did the decontamination. So this was the before and the after.
Jill, show us Sheron.
Yeah, that's what I said. and then this was after the decontamination.
Nice.
And so then good. That's it. There's Sheron, I guess. Wait a minute. There's got to be more.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Here it is.
I do like the addition of there's
we're close.
There we go. And either way, it's just a gray rock. Oh, wait, now it's red. And there is flourishes of burning cities. Okay.
And that's the wide shot for Sheron. There are the remaster differences.
Yeah, there have been episodes that I've said that the remaster doesn't service the story They usually don't overstep their bounds or color outside the lines, but I think that this is, with the remaster, it actually elevates the episode.
It looks good.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion.
Your opinion is noted.
Mm-hmm.
And invalid. Filthy half-white.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I want, like, I guess, I don't know, does the decomposition of my Sharonians, is that, like, because they're extremely long-lived, do they just not decompose? They have cars, because they have a traffic system. I wonder what the hottest car was. Was there still, like, a production system going on, or did this
Did they
Civil
say
War-
how long ago this happened?
No, but things are still burning.
Yeah, and corpses are still there.
Yeah.
Are
Corpses,
readable
not
on the
skeletons.
census.
Yeah, so it hasn't been too long, I guess.
Are
Since there's still
skeletons
corpses.
Just
That's
just recent.
yeah.
The final strike, the day the bombs fell.
Exactly.
Well, we're coming up on the chase.
Oh
Oh,
no!
I can't wait.
Yep.
And so they've annihilated each other.
They have annihilated each other. Totally.
Your band of murderers!
I apologize because I'm rude, but when they're struggling like that, I'm just waiting for their bulges to touch.
That is rude. But at least you apologized for it preemptively. Okay, so I was looking for, because this is a completely tragic, hopeless episode. So I was looking for just a little bit of Star Trek in there, and I only found one bit, and it was this.
You're welcome to live with us.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You both must end up dead if you don't stop hating.
Well,
Classic Kirk.
Yeah. Well, and Spock is also, like, he emphasizes no one. It's like, and it's obvious that Beale and Loki are like, none of my people are alive. And Spock is like, no, your people are dead, as if to just sort of subtly intone that they are the same people no matter what. Like, no one is alive. And it's like, not on our side, not on any side. You guys, your entire race has destroyed itself by your petty hatred.
Yep, you got it.
It's beautiful. It's actually quite good. Oh, and then we get stock footage of the Blitz. This isn't actually what happened on Sheron. This is the imagination of Beale and Loki as they run and they just imagine the destruction of their world. They are fueled by rage and flame and hate.
Or they could see images from their planet while they're in orbit too. Think about that.
Could be.
Right, given the telekinetic powers, they could have some kind
got
of
it.
vision. That's an interesting theory.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody cares that they use the transporter.
Well, and that's why you call security, right?
No security, nothing.
Nothing. No,
This is
you're
how
right.
the shuttle. This is how the shuttle got stolen in the first place. This episode can be boiled down to car gets stolen in the middle of a race war.
Mm-hmm.
Well-renowned lack of Starfleet security.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know who they need? Eddie Paskey. Get Mr. Leslie on the job, and we have some business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there should be 3 dots between Starbase and 4 in the subtitle.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, did you guys mention sabotage? Did you guys mention sabotage?
Sabotage?
No, we didn't.
I love it. It's in the captain.
Sabotage.
He says it's so pronounced, like almost out of spite. Sabotage.
Do you want to read it?
Oh, I do.
Okay, so I'll put it in the private chat. You can read the captain's log. I forgot about reading captain's log, so here you go.
Captain's log, stardate 5730.6. In a deliberate act of sabotage, Commissioner Beale has burned out our destruct mechanism, and through the power of his will has taken over directional control of the Enterprise. Which is absolutely dismissed by Scotty. And it's like Kirk says, "Did you fix it?" And Scotty's like, "Yep."
Yeah, to auxiliary control. Yeah.
But still, it's it's Starfleet officers doing their job. It's great. I love it.
I do too. Well, they have to have something exciting for. I don't know where the commercial break was, but that might have been one. Like, oh no, he took over the ship, and then Scotty's like, "Oh no, I got auxiliary control. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, exactly. I rerouted. Jill, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you say sabotage?
No, I can't.
All right.
I want to say sabotage.
Can't stand it. I know you planned it.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
No, that's not how you say it. You say
No, I can't.
sabotage.
Let's get silly.
Sabotage.
No, almost.
I can't do it. I can't. I told you I
it's
can't.
more nasal.
It's just ridiculous.
Maybe regional.
This episode is such a downer. Now we have a need to get silly.
Well, and absolutely. Like I'm
Well, right. Before we get silly, let's play the last clips I had, because I got 60 clips here. Play them all.
Their planet's dead. Does it matter now which one's right?
Not really.
No.
Not to Loki and Beale. All that matters to them is their hate.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's all they have left.
Do you have what Uhura says?
I have a question. This is what I brought up earlier.
No, I didn't get everything.
Pop has a question.
Well, it's when I kind of hinted at earlier. I said I'd bring it up at the end.
Yes.
I thought from memory, and I hadn't seen this movie in several years, and I could be wrong, but I thought from memory, I thought that the two beamed down, and then I thought they did another sensor scan, and then Spock said there are now no more life forms before they left. But then the version I watched this morning, they beam down, and then the Enterprise just leaves, and we don't find out what happens to them. Am I right or wrong?
Does that make any
sense?
In my recollection, I don't recall them saying that anybody dies, like with the sensors, or saying, "Oh no, now there's no one anymore." I know what you're saying, because like it's an echo or like a Mandela effect in the back of my noggin saying that, "Oh no, there are no more life forms." But I don't think that actually happened the first time I saw it. But I know, but I yeah, and that's all you have, really. But they don't do it on the Blu-rays. I did watch the remaster. I don't think that they edit dialogue. So
okay.
In fact, that's one of the reasons that I praise the remaster, is because they don't alter the story itself.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what made me think that. I thought the sensor scanner. At first they said there are now 2 life forms on the planet, and then they said now there are none. But I don't know what made me think that.
Wow. Well, your memory of the episode, I don't know. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Or maybe it's just the way that the Jumanji guy.
I don't remember that in the episode.
I don't remember about Jumanji guy.
That's completely unrelated. Let's drop that.
Yeah, but big shout out to Fill Up Gaming, our favorite New Trek actor.
I have a question for you, Pop.
Yes.
With that ending that you thought that was the actual ending, would that improve the episode a little more for you if it had that, that there are
finality?
The finality. Yeah, thank you.
So I guess the question would be, would that I preferred that over leaving it open and us not knowing?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have preferred it better. I hadn't thought about that point of view.
Yeah, I just thought
I thought they wrapped it up at the end, but I like I said, I must be mistaken.
Yeah, the Reluctant Dragon says when Writing aliens, it is best not to use common idioms from the current year. Agreed. Although authors often don't do that. When you do come across an idiom, it makes more sense to come up with an alien one that's kind of similar, so you know what they're saying, but a little bit alien. And so I agree with you completely. The Reluctant Dragon. It just requires a little creativity.
Well, it's interesting because when they are doing the gas spray from orbit, which is hilarious, the command that Scotty gives is like, "All right, let her rip," and it's like, "Let her rip." That's a 23rd century euphemism. Let her rip. All right.
Yeah, it
Oh.
lasted all those centuries. No.
It's just it's one of those colloquialisms that happens because of the era in which it was made. It's like when there are a couple of times that Data or Troy does a fist pump, and it's like, yes, and it's like, that's very 1990s, and it's not it's not something that would have carried through, but again, it's something that you forgive because of your suspension of disbelief, or at least I do.
Mm-hmm. I do too, and it's just little character things.
Mhm.
So this is one of your favorite movies, Pop Culture Curator. Can you read this chat?
In the private chat?
No.
On
And
screen.
on screen.
Oh, Gavin Blackburn says, "You blew it. You blew it up. Damn you, goddamn you all to hell." I hope to cover that movie on my stream on Tuesdays eventually, but these youngins, they just don't seem to be interested.
Yeah,
you keep putting it in the poll and not getting it.
I didn't put it in the poll because even when I verbally just bring it up, I get a loud noise feedback. I'll put it that way. They don't even want to experience to find out what it is. It's like, oh no, and it's like usually they have open minds. So
that's too bad. I would vote for that easy.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah, I would show all 5 of the originals, but it's the young ones. Oh no, I don't know.
Well, this is a complete aside. I apologize for interrupting, but there is a chat show on YouTube. They're about 10-minute episodes, and I think it's called Hanging with Dr. Z, and it's a late night talk show from the 70s. It's modeled after late night talk show in the 70s, like a Dick Cavett show, but it's got Dr. Zaius. Guy is in full Planet of the Apes makeup, and he's talking about you guys would love it. He's talking about old-timey actors like Peter Lawford and just Telly Savalas. It's great. I just found it. They've got 3 seasons. I think the new one just released, and it's got Howie Mandel. But it's Hanging with Dr. Z or something like that, and it's great.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're a Planet of the Apes fan.
So Gavin Blackburn says my dad used to say "let her rip" when I pulled his finger, but Ariba Bell has a good point. We still throw around Shakespeare, so some things do survive the ages, and that's true.
Interesting. It's interesting that you bring up Shakespeare, because I don't think that Sheron, my Sharona, would be able to have a Romeo and Juliet if the theory of dueling houses could never touch. There would never be a Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Matt G, I want to thank you for the $1 super chat, and I was so excited for you to send a super chat because I've got something special for you to play. It was something that I was going to play during the live stream, during one of the live streams for Star Trek, because this is the Star Trek Happy Meal. This was, I think, pretty much the introduction to Happy Meals at McDonald's.
For you parents who don't speak Klingonese, he's saying, people of Earth, unite and bring your kids to McDonald's for a Star Trek meal. That's a regular hamburger, fries, soft drink, a McDonald and cookie sampler, and a Star Trek prize. Oh, yes, 5 different boxes based on Star Trek the Motion Picture. Action scenes, jokes, games. He says, take it from a father who knows. His kids love him. McDonald's Star Trek meal available for your kids now.
Thank you for playing that. That was great.
For years.
You're welcome. And thank you, Matt G.
And I have to mention that was the wonderful voice of Gary Owens, the narrator.
That's
So
right.
if you
From
remember him from Laugh-In.
Laugh-In. Yeah.
Yeah, he always had his hand kept over his right ear.
Yep.
Before we continue having any more fun, we've got to review this episode. So, so of course, the end of the episode, sadly, Kirk says all they have is their hatred for each other, and they decide to they eventually go to Starbase 4. I guess they're just like we got to break, because of course they got to take back the shuttlecraft. You missing this? And there you go. And in case you want to act out this episode for yourself, the Mego Toy Company did create Sheron action figure doll. But the doll had no hair, and the costume was entirely half black and half white. I should have gotten a picture of this, but I just have that information.
Yeah, they only had the one, right?
So let's go through what everybody thinks of this episode and what you're doing on the internet. So promote your channels or whatever, but also tell us your reviews of this thing that we just watched. Starting with Scotty R37.
I was kind of dreading this episode because of the 10 minutes of slow jogging. But it wasn't that long. It was that the entire episode was Paddington. And I think it's thoughtful. I want to give it an A, but I think I'm going to give it a B+. I like everybody doing their jobs. I like that everybody is here. And Frank Gorshin is a treasure. I really enjoy it, but it does, like, I just keep waiting for the next thing to happen. So I think I'm gonna have to give it a B+, but this is good. And also, when people talk about like Star Trek being political or socially conscious, this one is at the top of the list because it is so overt. I think it is on par with the Don't Do Drugs episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
Go ahead with it, yes.
Yeah, I do. I like this episode more than I thought I would. It's certainly better than the Gorgon. Like, this is better than the Children Shall Lead.
Well, that's because this episode has something to say.
Yes, it's not just, crybaby kids. I do enjoy it. I would still recommend this today as a Star Trek episode that everyone who likes Star Trek should watch. It's heavy-handed, yes. It's message-based, yes. But it's fun. In terms of the bewilderment of our heroes being like, you guys are just prejudiced. Like, don't you understand that you're just being jerks? No, we demand the right to be jerks. All right, well, then you do you. So I do still like this. I like this episode. So B+.
That's a great conclusion. They're jerks, and they want to keep on being jerks.
Yeah, they're done with this.
All right.
It's like being stuck in traffic, and it's like if all these half whites were dead, I'd be able to get to work on time.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yes. Captain Duke Shepard.
Well, this episode pretty much is kind of short. It's all about hate. If we don't hate each other, we're not going to destroy each other, is basically what the message is in this episode. So let's just love each other and not hate each other, and we won't destroy each other. It'd be kind of rude to do all that, but that's pretty much in a nutshell what this episode's all about. And I gave it an A, and still waiting on actors sending their stuff in so I can get more videos out. That's about it.
Yeah, it's a simple message, and it comes from the heart.
It does.
Wait, can I interject for just 1 second? Because we were talking about Kirk being a Lothario, and it's like, wouldn't it be cool if we had seen a Sharona lady named Sharona?
Oh.
Oh,
Sure.
my little pretty.
Alrighty then.
I want a black and white lady. I
Mhm.
just want to see a lady Sharona.
Well, that's right. Okay, let me get your link, Jim.
Oh, what? Like Rule 34? What?
No.
Okay.
Hold on. Well, no, I'm trying to do what pop culture does and have the promotions a little bit before the end of the show.
Let this be your last waterbed.
Oh, jeez. Knowing you, Scotty, you probably poked the waterbed and you just be leaking over the place.
Oh my God, I flooded my bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that all you have to promote for your channel? Is you need actors for your...
I'm just waiting on my other actors to get their videos done so I can add it to the videos that are on standby right now.
Gotcha.
I have 6 of them on standby right now, just waiting on the other actors to send their stuff in so I can add it and start putting them out.
Is Gorilla one of them?
I haven't talked to him. Every time I ask him about a voiceover, he hasn't really said too much about it. So,
Gorilla would be a good Klingon.
I think you were asking something about a British accent, weren't you?
Say what?
I could be wrong, but I thought I heard you ask Gorilla if he could do a British accent.
I was looking for a British accent for the Romulan captain that I have, but I did find a voice generator, but it just doesn't sound right to me.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So can you tell us what you're doing online? Here. There's that. Nope, he's not here. Where'd he go?
Well, Scotty's always ghosting around, so.
Well, he didn't leave the bridge, so I didn't know he wasn't here. Stone Racket, what do you rate this episode? And what do you have to share today?
I am proud to be monotone. Oh, wait a minute. I've already said that enough. But I rate this episode a B. I took it down for the unfortunate choices made by director Judd Taylor with the headache-inducing zoom lens on the red alert and the gratuitous close-ups. It's like he can't do it as well as Sierra G. Leone. But I think even though this is, like Scotty said, heavy-handed, and but its heart is in the right place and its message is solid and very important, and it aired on NBC, which they were kind of ahead of the curve because of having a show airing in '65 that had a co-star who was black. That would be Sheldon Leonard's produced show I Spy. And then we have in the fall of '68 on NBC, we have the series Julia with Diane Carroll, which was the first series to star a black woman, not in a stereotypical role, or just a black actor in general, and not a stereotypical role. And Diane Carroll in Julia portrayed a nurse who was recently widowed because her husband was shot down in Vietnam, and she had a son to raise. And that was a very pivotal and important series. And here we have this episode airing in January of '69, which was kind of point blank, stop this race hatred or we'll destroy ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I give NBC kudos for being ahead of the curve there.
Well, it's
definitely.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, you always interrupt, and you mean to interrupt.
No,
and
I
I as a ginger kitty, am tired of it, and I won't take it. No, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, no, but to build on that, and that's the thing, is that like modern sort of trends to segregate people and being like, oh, you're only half white on one side and you're half black on the other, and so therefore we're different. We're not allowed to share cuisine or culture or music, and it's appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like this. I just the intellectual dissection or deconstruction of that bigotry and hatred. I think that this is, again, it may be heavy-handed, but maybe sometimes a heavy hand is what's needed to drive a point home.
Well, you're talking about the modern day. It's even more appropriate because of what's the madness going on today with this cultural Marxism, and it's just making tribalism, a thing again. It's just ridiculous. It's just madness.
Agreed.
But as far as
Yeah.
a channel, I have no channel, but I like
Oh,
to
but you
hang
have
out.
a Twitter, right?
I'm on Twitter at Largo6583. I follow a lot of cat people. Big surprise there.
Meow.
But excuse me, as far as YouTube, I like to hang out here with you, Jill, and I like to hang out with Pop Culture Curator on his channel. 2 amazing channels.
Hey, Jim, do you want to go have a smoke?
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Let's go, Scotty. Practice.
Yeah, let's get out of here. He doesn't like us.
Well, it's just the way it is.
I'm just joshing.
Now I'm a sad kitty.
No, don't be sad, kitty.
But anyway, I enjoy talking about sci-fi and Star Trek in particular, and recently on Pop Culture Curator's channel, Lost in Space. And yes, I love both television series, and can't we just all get along?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Rodney King.
I don't listen to hip hop.
So, if I could, I said this at the top of the show. If I could pick one episode from season 3 that I wish could have been made when we had both of the Jeans and the Dorothy and everybody, this would be it. I'd just love to see what would have happened. I'm sure we wouldn't have gotten weird telekinetic powers for no reason. And it would, I think it would have been. I don't know if we would have gotten the black and white thing. I don't know how they would have presented the allegory, but I wish I could see that episode, because I could see that. I could see that here. I could see this. It could have been A++ territory, but as it stands, I give it a B also. So, all hope was lost before it could be found, which usually isn't how Star Trek stories go, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but usually there's some kind of hope. And so the idea,
they don't bring up the Prime Directive at all.
No, you're right, they don't.
I guess it doesn't apply because they're a spacefaring species, so it doesn't apply.
And by the time they get there, they're dead anyway. So I don't know what the idea. I mean, I did the idea to tell the story with some gravitas does save it from a lower range for me, because they are trying to say something powerful here, as attested to the over 2 hours that we've discussed this episode already. And so, I forgot to ask you guys if you remember the first time watching this episode, if you could tell the difference was that their black and white sides were transposed before it was revealed in the dialogue. Because I don't think I did. I think that was
I didn't see this when it was first aired, but I did see it first in syndication in 1970, and I didn't notice until it was pointed out by Frank Gorshin's character.
Right. So I think that's interesting.
I actually, like, upon rewatch, and this is like the villainous nature of the bigotry of Beale is highlighted because he is the oppressor and Loki is the oppressed. But the thing is that they both hold this prejudice so deeply between the two of them that watching it subsequently, because again, looking back at it and saying that it's heavy-handed, they're both wrong. There is no sympathetic character between the two of them.
Yep.
That was an interesting choice, because usually you would make the oppressed one more likable, but he was just as much of an asshole.
Yeah. There you go. Go buy a lottery ticket, girl.
Yeah, lottery time. Girl,
Drop an
a lottery
F-bomb.
time.
Get a $2 scratch card. It'll work.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work with season 3 because season 3 is probably gonna bring out lots of curse words from me. But okay, so and part of also why it doesn't make it to an A range is some of the science stuff, the telekinetic powers that are inconsistent. If he has such crazy powers, why did he need to make any kind of preamble at all? He could have just hopped aboard the Enterprise, taken it over, went to Sheron, and did what he wanted to do.
Paddington.
And yeah, he could fuse those circuits as much as he wants. So I mean, it doesn't make sense.
The whole episode is based on so we have these black and white people, and they're reversed, and we need to make this conflict last an hour.
Yeah, and they've been chasing each other for 50,000 years.
It's a great premise, but it isn't. I don't think I agree with you, Jill, in terms of it. It could have been explored more delicately or elegantly, but ultimately what it has is these people hate each other. Moving on.
And yeah, and I get that Beale represented the Authority, and maybe I could headcanon that he was trying to respect the authority of the Enterprise, but how is he doing that when he's taking over the ship? So that doesn't work either. So anytime I try this, it doesn't work.
Yeah. But I saw this for the first time like in 1984, 1983, I guess. And I just knew that they were people who looked the same, and I could never grasp that they didn't look the same.
Right.
I love the costumes. I love David Bowie.
But it's like the science consultant said. They didn't say a damn thing about the science. They said this is a moral allegory. This is and that's what it is. It's a morality tale.
Yes.
So it didn't have it all of those things I have complaints about. That's why they didn't have any notes, because this was mostly fantasy outside of that.
I just want to highlight DJ Play Nice, who says, and a fave, white stripes.
But what I do love about this episode is that it doesn't force you to decide which person is worse, because they're both pretty terrible. You have no idea. And Kirk says, rightly, I'm glad he says, I won't choose sides. No matter how heavy-handed, it does produce a good discussion, which is what Star Trek should do.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It's pretty impossible to tell how much truth is coming from one side or the other, and I think that is interesting. It's just such a dark episode. You can't trust either of these extremists. But the message is good and clear, like Jim says. But it's missing that essential component of Star Trek, which is to leave me feeling hopeful for the future. While I appreciate the realism that change doesn't happen in a day, I would have liked just a little more. But just
for the audience, I would like to, and for myself and for the panel, I would like to say that if you are ever going to pursue any sort of philosophical truth, stay away from extremists.
But at least Kirk and Spock did try. Spock tried to tell him about his past and how his people overcame their hatred, and Kirk tried to say, you can come live with us. We'll welcome you as Federation citizens, and we'll bring you in. But of course, these guys, they were too far gone. They weren't ready to listen.
Yeah, but you got, like you said, you got your typical Star Trek optimism, for the future. You got that through Spock and Kirk, how they offered to these two gentlemen an opportunity to live with them, in the Federation, and they just totally rejected it, and so it's on them.
That's fair enough. Yeah, maybe I know. No, I think I did. I graded it correctly. I did.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Thank you guys
Be
so
with
much.
all the pluses. Be with all the pluses.
We haven't heard from Pop though.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm sorry, pop culture curator. I don't know why I thought.
I'll give the episode a C.
Oh.
It has a few plot holes. It's kind of sad. I think the script could have used one more polish. But I still enjoyed it. It's still better than Modern Trek.
Oh, yeah.
It's better than Nemesis.
Today. I appreciate you having me on today, Jill. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. And what do you have going on? There's something really cool happening on your channel tonight.
Tonight, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we're covering the movie Westworld from 1973. If you are into that sort of thing, please feel free to join us. And tomorrow we will be covering Gilligan's Island Season 3. And Saturday Rumblings from the Lab. And then next Sunday we'll be back with another episode of Season 2 of Lost in Space. And thank you. And it was good to see you all.
Well, Pop,
Yeah,
I
it
have
was,
one
it was so
question.
good.
I have one question. Is Gilligan's Island Season 3 better than Star Trek Season 3?
Apples and oranges, my friend.
Yeah, fair enough. Good
I
answer.
like them
Good
both.
answer. Yep.
That's a great answer. So Pop had a 7-hour rumblings on Saturday. Let's see if he's going to go for 8 this Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting, but I don't know. It's fun that you mentioned your Gilligan's Island stream, and that you like both, because this is how it was on our CBS affiliate when Star Trek was first syndicated. At 3:30, it was Gilligan's Island, and then following that, 4 o'clock was Star Trek. So I got to watch them back to back.
Beautiful double bill. And later on, they turned that into Star Trek Voyager.
Indeed.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's how I see Star Trek Voyager too.
In the most complimentary of ways.
Yes. Well,
B'Elanna
it is.
Torres
It's
will
a Star
always
Trek.
be my Marianne.
It is absolutely the Star Trek sitcom, Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, Tom
No.
Paris is Space Chandler. I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
You know what? I need to make these. I need to put these in alphabetical order so I can find these videos better.
I'm gonna have to. There is a video on the internet that has Star Trek Voyager to the theme song of Friends. I'm gonna have to post that somewhere.
I mean, surely you don't think that Gilligan's Island is a...
Those poor people.
Those poor people.
Oh, I have the wrong one.
No, I know, but that was a great one. I never get to see Sigourney say that, or pardon me, Gwen.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you guys filled in the part that I wanted. So it actually was the perfect clip.
Yes, Gilligan's Island is historical documents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at
and we're screwed.
Star Trek
the movies,
historical documents.
in the movies, they got their stuff together.
Yeah.
How would you rate the chat also rated this episode? We've got a lot of love for it, actually.
Yeah,
We got 56%. Give
Wow.
it an A.
Hey.
More approval than Biden.
29% give it a B. And 15 give it a C. So those are some pretty great scores. This is a good scoring season 3 episode. I'm still having a really great time.
Apples, berries, and cherries.
Yeah. Well, and something I didn't read from the book or anything, but Fred Freiberger did a lot of writing on this one, I think. So take that with what you will. So that could explain for some of the weird science that he put in there that isn't science.
Well, and
I don't know precisely the lines he wrote.
Tough
I
crowd.
just want to give a shout out again to Hollywood Vice Squad, Frank Gorshin and Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. Go check it out on VHS.
Why are you saying that?
Because Frank Gorshin is in Hollywood Vice Squad.
Oh, Frank Gorshin. Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, I missed that the Frank part.
I just like hooker movies from the 80s. I'm sorry.
The Horse and Buggy.
TJ Hooker?
Yeah, of course.
TJ Hooker.
Of course.
I've seen at least one TJ Hooker episode. And then I saw a brief clip of a car chase.
My friend Terrier from Norway, he got the entire series on DVD, I think. I don't know if it's Blu-ray. But yeah, he's got the whole thing. He watched it. He loved it. It's got Nimoy in there too.
That's a good episode right there.
Lou Melvin? Is Lou Melvin here?
Hey, Lou Melvin. Lee Marvin?
Lou Melvin, thanks for beaming in, says Keithy.
Sounds like sabotage.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
If you're still here, Lou, great to see you. That's what your $1 got you. Well, man, gee, you got a cool old Star Trek commercial, probably older than you too. I think you're 2 years younger than me. That was cool, even if it is McDonald's. Well, yeah, but man, G loves McDonald's, and he's given me lots of $1, so that added up.
That's why he can only afford Arby's.
That was an interesting tie-in with the motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
And rated G, it makes sense.
Well,
yeah, it was rated G. Yeah, Happy Meal for everyone.
And also on those Happy Meals were little comic strips.
Oh.
What, like Bazooka Joe?
No.
Well,
Star Trek
I
comics.
intended on making a video at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it.
So you have all 5 Happy Meals, Jill?
No, I don't have them, but I can
Every meal that Jill makes is
source
happy.
them online.
That's what the puppies say too.
Ariba Bell says, "Let this be your last Chesterfield." What is this one?
I don't know if you're referring to a couch or a cigarette, but
It's a cigarette, yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case,
Mr. Miles, I am an Arby's fan. An unapologetic.
Cigarettes for you.
No, I can't say it. I can't say what I was going to say on Tuesday.
Yeah, Scotty's got to go where the meats are at.
I get the meat sweats.
Star Trek / fiction was Rule 34 decades before Rule 34 was Rule 34. Scotty or 37, exploring strange new worlds. Thank you, Darius.
Thank you, Darius. I wish I could expound, but again, it's Tuesday. I'm not allowed to be blue.
Well, Darius definitely encourages it.
Well, I'll be in my bunk.
Oh, hi, Tiger Stripes. I'm
Hey,
so happy
Tiger.
to see you.
Hey, Tiger, what's up?
Stone Racket, stand your ground on not being interrupted. You deserve that respect.
Thank you, Tiger Stripes. And I missed you on the Buckaroo Bonsai stream. I was hoping you'd be there.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't like my interruptions.
She did inform me that she couldn't be there. So.
But I don't mean to interrupt. I only my intention is to build on the thoughts that you're saying, and I apologize if I jump in too quickly. It's just because I'm enthusiastic and excited about.
Yeah.
Always Scotty's fault.
Usually.
I do like that enthusiasm, but do see if someone's finished their sentence before.
And remember, I have dramatic William Shatner pauses when I speak.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
What starbase are we going to?
Yeah.
Starbase 4.
Oh my stars! It took forever.
I'm sure the Enterprise episode Chosen Realm was inspired by this episode, but religion instead of race. Oh, interesting point, Mr. Miles. Yeah, and definitely looking at the episodes of Star Trek that mention these kinds of things. Well, and there was another Enterprise episode too with a person, they had an extra gender, and this extra gender was just the same as them, but they treated them like second-class citizens.
Well, isn't it something we were talking about last night, Jill, is that you were saying that, once we get to Next Generation, it feels like early Next Generation feels like season 3.
It does. Watching the biggest thing that I've discovered watching season 3 are so many aspects of TNG that it borrows from, even more than the Klingons, the technobabble, and the idea of this. Let's see. I'm gonna find the clip from this episode we just saw. And well, I have a lot of clips. Where are we?
Do you have the Jumanji guy?
No, where is it?
There's no such primitive thinking today.
That's in TNG too. And so there's so much inspiration from season 3 into the Next Generation. It's very interesting. You told me you figured it out for me. It's because they were using phase 2 to create the Next Generation, but season 3 was also on the side there.
And some TAS. I
3.
want to pepper in some TAS into that too.
Oh, the animated series for sure. That makes sense.
There is 1, 2, 3 continuity abort. There is so much, and I enjoy that in terms of the continuity.
Right, because there was a respect for the past that Next Generation had, and that was good.
Yeah. Do you remember in that episode of Star Trek Discovery when they made the Guardian of Forever into a guy named Carl? That was so respectful.
I never watched that.
I did. I love Paul Guilfoyle. And so I did watch it, and I was so angry the entire time.
I already
There's
gave
a
up.
Section 31 movie, and I hope it is broken. I hope it's broken.
It's going to be terrible. Well, unless it is Chief O'Brien and Julian Bashir going in to take down Section 31, I'm not going to like it.
That would be so awesome. Can you imagine like Miles O'Brien punching Philippa Georgiou? That'd be
I'd be
best.
okay with that.
I'd be fine with it. And then Dr. Bashir does like resuscitation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We can't let her die, Miles.
Oh, we got a request for a clip.
Oh, what?
I have room for a few requests. Do you have the clip from the movie Fanboys when Shatner says, "I'm William Shatner. I can score anything."
Jill, have you ever seen Fanboys?
No, I haven't.
It's a Star Wars based movie, but I think you'd like it because there is sort of the Star Trek versus Star Wars animosity present within it.
Oh, do you remember when that was the big deal? Like the big drama was just
Seth
Star
Rogen
Trek
played the
versus
Klingon,
Star
I think.
Wars.
or
Those
something.
were innocent times where we just fought over which universe was more fun.
Now people want to see
I love
Kathleen
both.
Kennedy and that Kurtzman fellow arm wrestle.
Kurtzman Kennedy death match.
Would that be the best? That would be so cool. You've destroyed your franchises. Now destroy yourselves. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go.
Happen. Yeah.
Everybody, if it's not too much trouble, I would appreciate it if you guys, if you're fans of the television show Fargo, we talk about that on Thursday over at the Phantasmagorium. And aside from that, I'm just a hobo on the internet who hangs out with my friends. And I appreciate everybody who puts up with my shenanigans. I hope you all live long and prosper. And Jill and Pop and Stone Racket and Jim and everyone in the chat, I will see you in what we like to call the future.
Take care, Scotty.
Take care, Scotty.
Bye, Scotty. Thank you so much for being here. And also, yes, definitely check him out on X if you like to laugh. He will post absurd things that might make you laugh. And Phantasmagorium also pretty cool. I've appeared on there a few times. So it's a good channel. It's got a couple more people who do. It has someone named Catherine who was a film school student and she's really smart. Has Steve, Steve is a guy he just wrote a novel. I haven't read it or anything, but that is always a impressive thing to have done. Herc 130 says, "You had one job, Carl." Okay, well, yeah. First of all, to be, you know what? I need to get some clips from Sitting on the Edge of Forever, because there's some Star Trek episodes that I reviewed that I didn't get clips for, and now I have all this room. I gotta go get some. Oh, Donnie says his favorite. Power Rangers and Super Sentai are tied as his favorite entertainment. Oh, but he still loves Star Trek.
But Don, I am not a Trekkie. I am a Trekker.
There's
Trekkies are the ones that make Star Trek their religion. And Trekkers just love it because it's a cool science fiction show.
I've heard conflicting notions of what Trekkies and Trekkers are. I thought someone's told me that Trekkies are people who love TOS, and Trekkers are the ones who gravitate to the later portions of Star Trek.
Well, I'm an OG Trekker, and I'm old school, so I reject all that new Trek. But that's interesting that they're appropriating that term, because Trekker goes way back to the Star Trek conventions in the 70s, where they would differentiate against the squealing little teenagers that were, infatuated with Spock and his pointy ears.
Okay, I'm probably a Trekkie then.
No, you respect the character. It's on a totally different level than this, but that was kind of the stereotype back then, was Trekkies were more of a infantile fascination for all things Vulcan, I guess, for the most part. But Trekkers were the more adult science fiction fans that appreciated the show. That's where I'm coming from anyway. But
for sure, it's an interesting discussion. Keith E says, Jill, if your host would put a comment in the chat after this post tomorrow, it would be easier to find their channel to just to add it. Interesting. Thank you, Keith. You are a very good moderator, so thank you for hanging out.
Well, Stone Racket, if I may, I got a question for you. I always say I love Star Trek, and I'm also a Star Trek fan filmmaker. So, what am I then?
Oh, you're a solid Trekker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, of course you can use either term,
I'm still
for yourself. This is just something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
I'm just curious.
But I mean,
is this like pronouns?
Yeah. Well, oh dear, we don't want to go down that road. But there's people that call themselves Trekkies that are just like us. We love the show.
Yep.
We love science fiction in general, and we don't make it something that's to be worshipped.
Well, thank you.
The thing is, I wouldn't say I worship Star Trek, but I do go into it hoping to be inspired and to walk away thinking, there's something here that can apply to my real life, and that's why I take it. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a wonderful series, and it's going to last forever.
It is. It's indelible. James Caserta says Will Wheaton is psychotic.
Yes.
I have no problem in that chat. I've always differentiated Trekkers from Trekkies, as Trekkers are normal. Okay, so Mr. Miles agrees.
Mr. Miles and I agree.
Cool.
Excellent.
I don't know what I think about this. I've heard different things.
Yeah.
Oh, but Trekkies are the ones that cosplay and learn Klingon or Vulcan. So I don't know Klingon, but I have been a Vulcan.
Yeah, I kind of like Mr. Miles' definition that Trekkies are the ones that cosplay. Seriously.
Scotty
Yeah.
R37 is in the chat. Filthy, half white.
I'm a
Oh,
monotone.
mhm.
I'm a monotone ginger.
Do-gooders and bleeding hearts. You're dead, you half-white.
Oh dear.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah. That's a Freiberger
Oh man.
a line.
I
most
don't know.
likely.
Like
I don't
he
know.
just write in a whole bunch of hate, and he's just like, I really love writing these lines of hate.
Yeah, of hate.
I don't really know if that's what I'm just making things up because I don't know exactly who wrote which line.
Uh-oh, Don's taking it too far.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Donnie says, although I've been teaching myself the Klingon language and the Vulcan language. Ooh, wow. Well, there is the Klingon Language Institute that you can find on the internet that it has all that you need to know.
Oh
For
dear.
just $10, you get access to all of the website, and you get. Well, I'm not sponsored by the Klingon Language Institute, but I know about it.
$10 to make you happy.
Yeah, that's taking things a little too far.
Mm.
But I do like hearing people speak Elvish, especially Liv Tyler, but that's a different story.
Mhm. And she still, for some reason, after all these years, she still remembers several of her lines.
Yeah, there was an
from what I-
interview she did before the release of The Fellowship. It was a special on television. She just rattled off this Elvish, and I just went, I'm in love.
Lemon Pie says, and last but not least, people that spell it Star Trek. Well, that's the normies.
That was a thing in grade school that just drove me nuts. They go, oh, you watch Star Trek. And it's like, no, it's Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Miles says, I want to send you an edited clip I made years ago. How can I send it to you? I don't know.
There you go.
Do you have Twitter? Or...
I was just gonna say, just send it through the Twitter twat, through the X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
The anti-derivative Jill zone.
There you go.
Or you could email it to me. I've got antiderivative.jill@gmail.com, which is on my about page for my channel. So let's see. Yeah, antiderivative.jill@gmail.com. So I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, how large a file does Gmail take? Do you happen to know?
All emails are only good for 25, but if you go through Gmail, they have Drive in there, and Drive will take over.
Oh, okay.
Because I have my actors send me stuff through Gmail through Drive.
Okay, that's good to know.
And just for a small clip, it could be 50, 60, easy.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
No problem.
Oh, we're getting close to the end. Although I can't find my star. I'm looking for my star, and I gotta find.
Well, your star left.
Well, and thank you for being here, Scotty R37. But no, y'all are all stars. I need all of y'all to talk about Star Trek. Otherwise, it would just be me, and the show would just be maybe 40 minutes long.
And Scotty says, "I am not of the body."
Okay, so any chats I missed, I'm sorry. I lost my place, so I'm just going where I can find where I am. Lots of people are talking about Arby's in the chat and meats. I'm probably not going to read those. Then.
Yeah, Arby's, as far as the fast food places, is pretty darn good, actually.
Yeah, it's real good.
If you have sweaty meats, you can pat them.
I thought DJ played nice. That wasn't too nice.
No, but we forgot to talk about how sweaty the actors were in that paint.
Yeah, they were glistening a little too much there, weren't they? It's tough being under all that makeup and hot lights, you know.
Yeah, all those lights and everything. I was going to say.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's only one return, and it's of the Jedi. Well, Scotty R37 does not like Return of the King. He does not like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I
that's
do.
interesting. He mentioned that on a previous stream, and that's interesting. He doesn't like it at all. I love those movies. Of course, I read the book before each film came out. That's how I went through. I'd already read The Hobbit years before, but I'd never read
Right.
the trilogy. And I made a point of getting a box set of the books, and then I, like a month before the first film came out, I read The Fellowship, and then I did likewise with the other the two subsequent films.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and one of these days, I'm going to want to talk about Lord of the Rings, so I'll have you on for that one day. But for now, we've got to go. I've got to go pick up my children from school and do all this stuff, and you guys got to do stuff. So
Yeah, you
let's
got to
go
do your
stuff.
mommy stuff.
Yeah, my mommy stuff. And I'll
That's
see
important.
you guys. I'll see
Very
you guys
important.
next time. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for talking to me about Star Trek. So next week we're going to have the episode for the 71st episode of Star Trek, Whom Gods Destroy.
I am Lord Garth.
and so I haven't updated my membership credits yet, so a couple of people who just joined the membership are not on the list yet, but I'm going to work on that soon, I promise. Maybe tonight. And I will talk to you all next time. Thank you so much to the panel. Thank you so much to the chat. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
There's been an explosion on Alba 2.
0.95. Must have wiped out everything.
We hereby proclaim that I am Lord Garth, Master of the Universe. On your knees before me! All the others before me have failed.
Ship's phasers to narrow beam.
Queen to Queen's level 3, Captain Kirk.
No, you mustn't do that.
I can get him to tell me what you want to know. I think I knew I loved you from the first moment I saw you.
Learn all that is learnable. And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
See you around the galaxy.